Unified School District Board of Education meeting. Thank you all for joining us, and we are going to call the meeting to order. And we're going to start with 1.2, our Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to have Jones Elementary come on at this time and lead us in the pledge.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, their liberty and justice for all.
Oh my goodness, you gotta love it. That was absolutely wonderful. All right, moving on to 1.3, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you. I heard Mr. Tillman. It's been moved in second, and I believe there are some items to pull. Dr. Vollkommer somewhere? You're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry. We'd like to pull item 4.5. We'll bring that back in the future.
Okay. All right, and we will go ahead and move forward with the vote. Mr. Tillman?
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos?
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt?
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina?
Aye.
Dr. Hill?
Aye.
Dr. Flores?
Aye.
Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you so much. And we are now at 1.4, inspirational message, and we are being inspired by Dr. Wyatt tonight.
Well, thank you, Madam President, and good evening to everyone. Good afternoon. Great to see everybody. You know me, I always like videos, but I also like poems, and I love quotes. So I'm gonna do a couple things here, just in honor of Black History Month. And you know, we have a lot of celebrations, so I don't want to steal everybody's thunder tonight for board comments, but you know, we had a little victory in regards to justice recently, so I'll leave it at that. But you know, just a quick quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and then we'll see a really nice inspirational video. But we need to know that it's not possible to be in favor of justice for some people and not be in favor of justice for all people. So let's just remember that justice applies to all of us, and we want equity for all. So, you know, and I know that's our goal here as a board. But right now, we're gonna see a very motivational video by a young man, and he calls himself Kid President. And I think you guys are gonna love it. A couple things just to remember: that we believe in you. That's one of his messages. And be bold, be kind, and be awesome. So let's roll it.
It's time to think about your future, man. Some people think the future's gonna be dark, like people crying, robots crying, Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I think about the future a lot, and I believe it's gonna be awesome. Has to be. It will be. Sure, there's bad things in the world, but there's also pizza. Wait, I can think of something better. It's like nothing better. Yes, there's bad stuff, but it doesn't have to stay that way. People being mean to people, not treating people like the people. That's why we need people like you. We just gotta change some stuff. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we could just all be cool? Like, just all be cool to each other. Like, be cool, man. Throw kindness around like confetti. Kindness is less messy. Don't judge someone unless you walk them out in their shoes. Also, don't steal the shoes. Borrow them, and then return them, and then be friends. Make a ruckus for good. You got this. When life gives you lemons, post about them online so people will feel sorry for you. No, you don't do that. When life gives you lemons, you gotta make lemonade and drink it, and then you dance. Be the reason somebody dances this week. You see, there's the way things are, there's the way things could be, and there's you. And I believe in you. I believe in you because somebody believed in me. And I guess somebody believed in them. And then it's like a whole chain. Someone believed in them, and then someone believed. Believing in people is contagious. And that's good because we got a lot of people. Did you know there's over 2 billion people under the age of 20 in the world? 2 billion? and I'm one of them. What if every one of them knew somebody believed in them? When you do something with a kid, it sticks with them. Anything you do for a kid, a smile, a book, teaching them to tie, pancakes, it becomes part of who they are. They may not thank you or act like they notice, but they won't forget. That's changing the future, man. Change a little, then you can change a lot. What will the future look like? Will there be flying cars? Will there be jetpacks? Will there be hoverboards? I don't know. If you build them, there will be. Sure, there's bad stuff in the world, but there's also you. You can be anything that you want today, so be bold, be kind, be awesome. Repeat. It's like shampoo, but with your life. One of the superpowers that we all have is the ability of changing the future. You may not feel like you have that much, but you have right now. And that's a lot. Take time to listen. Listen to a kid. Believe in a kid. Teachers, to librarians, to parents, to everybody who works with kids. You're changing the future. Tomorrow will be better because how awesome you're gonna make today.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but that young man, you know, I watched that video quite a few times, and it just makes me smile end over end. And, you know, to our students out there, we absolutely believe in you, and you're definitely our future. And you continue to impress us time and time again. And you'll be creating things that we don't even know about. And I'll take a jet car or jet hoverboard any day. So whenever one of you make those, that'll be great. And so be cool, but I'm going to turn it over to one of the coolest persons I know, and that is Madam President. So back to you.
Thank you for that. That was absolutely, I loved it. I want to get up and dance, Scott. You knocked it out of the park. We got to be kind. All right, so moving on to 2.1, resolution in recognition of President's Day. Dr. Hill, are you able to come off mute and read that for us today?
Sure, Madam President. Let me just situate myself a little better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whereas the state of California designated the third Monday in February as President's Day in honor of George Washington, the first president of the United States of America, who contributed to the birth of the country through his military, political, and personal accomplishments. And this holiday also honors the life of President Abraham Lincoln. And whereas General George Washington, born in 1732, served as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War, inspiring and motivating soldiers to fight for their freedom, despite the poor conditions most soldiers faced. And whereas President's Day also recognizes the contributions and legacy of the United States presidents like Abraham Lincoln, an American statesman and lawyer who served as the 16th president of the United States from 1861 until his assassination in 1865, and Lincoln led the nation through the American Civil War. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District does join California and the nation in celebrating the birth of the first president of the United States of America, and encourages district teachers to include George Washington's and Abraham Lincoln's contributions as part of the history of our nation.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second. If there's no discussion, we'll take the vote. Mr. Tillman.
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos.
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt.
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina.
Aye.
Dr. Hill.
Aye.
Dr. Flores.
Aye.
And Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you so much. We are now at 3.1, public comments for our closed session. And Karen, is there a comment? Any comments?
Yes, Madam President, there is. If Catalina Castillo could unmute and give your comment.
Is it Castillo's, Ms. Cunningham? Did you say?
Yeah, Ms. Castillo. Yeah.
She put in the chat, she
Yes.
needs permission. Okay.
Yes. Good evening, Board President Rogers and Vice President Wyatt, board members, and all other presidents. My name's I am Ramona Alessandro School Site Council in ELAC parent. Dear board members, before you decide the fate of our Alessandro community, we would like for you to keep in mind the following. We would like to share our sincerest appreciation for Teresa Hopkins for inspiring our students to achieve their dreams every single day. Words cannot begin to describe how thankful we are for the work she has done in the many years she has been at our school. Her strong leadership is the foundation of school success, and without her, our school would be lost. We are continually impressed with her ability to unite our school community. She has set such a welcoming and positive tone on campus and created a wonderful example for others. She has fostered a sense of support and appreciation that allows us to improve daily. Her long hours of hard work have made such a difference to ensure the learning and growth of all of our students. We really appreciate her constant dedication to keep us parents updated and informed, especially during these rapidly changing times. Her dedication to our students and community shows in every decision made. We feel very fortunate to have her during these challenging times. It has not been an easy transition for any of us, with recent events leaving us heartbroken, but her leadership and positive attitude have helped pull us through. Without her impressive organization and incredible passion for the students, our community would not be what it is today. Her vision, wisdom, and passion for this school is apparent every time she speaks to us during school events and meetings. She has done an incredible job of listening to many concerns and has kept us excited about improving our school. We don't want to lose her. Having Ms. Hopkins as our new principal would be the best thing that could happen to our school and community. She is clearly the best option for our school. To Ms. Hopkins, I would like to say, thank you for setting high expectations for our students and educators. Your ability to empathize with our students and constant belief in the staff inspires. We are forever grateful for your impact on this school. Never forget how amazing you are and how much of a difference you have made at Ramona Alessandro. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you so much for those comments, Ms. Castillo. Are there any other comments, Ms. Cunningham?
No, that was the only one.
Okay. All right. Well, at this time, we're now going to adjourn. We are now at 3.2, and we will adjourn for the closed session, and we will see all of our viewing audience shortly. Board members, we need to log out of this screen and into our closed session. But we are back, and thank you all for your patience. We are now resuming our board meeting, and we are now at 4.0, reconvene to open session. 4.1, elementary school principal, human resources. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following employee: Cynthia Zavala, elementary school principal, Roosevelt, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there's no other discussion, Mr. Tillman,
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos,
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt, Dr. Wyatt,
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina,
Aye.
Dr. Hill,
Aye.
Dr. Flores,
Aye.
Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carry. And we are now at 4.2. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following employee: Teresa Hopkins, elementary school principal, Ramona Alessandro, effective date and work year and salary to be determined. And is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second. If there's no discussion, Mr. Tillman,
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos, Dr. Wyatt,
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina,
Aye.
Dr. Hill,
Aye.
Dr. Flores,
Aye.
Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you. 4.3, Assistant Director of Student Wellness and Support Services. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the appointment of the following employee: Mario Jaquez, Assistant Director of Student Wellness and Support Services, effective date, work year, and salary to be determined.
So moved.
Oh, second.
All right, it's been moved and second. And if there's no discussion, Mr. Tillman,
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos,
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt,
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina,
Aye.
Dr. Hill,
Aye.
Dr. Flores,
Aye.
Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you. And we definitely want to congratulate all of those appointments. And we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming meetings. But congratulations to you. We are now at 4.4, HR Class 2021-04-ER. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district, HR Class 20-21-04-ER. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
I don't remember talking about, we talked about someone being,
Disciplined.
no, she said,
Dismissal, I know, but
Yes,
I thought
she
it was
said dismissal.
discipline. Yeah.
HR on number, okay, we had to, let me see if there's, yeah, there's one, is that correct on 4.4? The wording?
Madam President, our apologies. What we should have done, I'm reviewing it now. I believe what we should have done is taken 4.4, pulled item 4.4, which is.
Oh, is that the, okay, that you did have one.
Is that
pulled.
correct, Dr. Funchess?
So the one that we speak of is correct. Dr. Flores is correct. It's more of a discipline. I'm looking at the agenda now.
The wording.
Could be 4.5 and 4.4 should be pulled.
was correct. Did we pull 4.5? I thought that's
Pulled
what.
for-
you pulled it by mistake, he's saying, we actually should be taking out 4.5.
The wording does look, yeah, it looks correct on the second one, but not on 4.
You can correct
But
it.
it
Let's
should have
take-
been, so the pulling should have been at 4.4, not
Right.
4.5.
Yes.
We should vote on 4.5.
I just,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tillman.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
why I didn't second it.
Okay, so I'm
That
going
didn't sound right.
Madam President,
Dr.
before you,
Flores, I saw your face and I was like, wait a minute, what did we just read? Okay, so I'm going, 4.5 was pulled initially, so we need to include it back in the agenda.
I move that we reinstate 4.5.
Second,
All right, it's been moved in second. If there's no further discussion, we'll vote. Mr. Tillman.
well, I gotta make a motion.
So my question is, we're putting it back in and then we're gonna vote on it?
So I
Or,
wanna make a motion to approve 4.5.
okay, so you're making a motion to approve it, which is also putting it back in, but I need to go ahead and read it then, if we can do it that way.
Okay,
Okay, so be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary, oh, I'm sorry, wait, 4.5. Yes, notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to suspend without pay for 2 days the following classified employee from his or her employment with the district, HR Class 20-21-11-ER.
I thought we said in closed session was 5 days.
correct.
Oh, wait.
So Madam President, before we move forward,
Yeah.
I'd like Dr. Funchess, if he needs to propose any amendment to 4.5 that may be necessary.
Okay,
Thank you all. So just listening in, the 4.5 is the one that we removed from the agenda, and that was correct. I think the wording on 4.4, we may need to revisit. In closed session, we did talk about the discipline in terms of the day count. So the day count was correct that Mr. Tillman just spoke of. Does that make sense?
So a point of clarification, Dr. Funchess. So 4.4 is correct, but it
Correct.
shouldn't be dismissal, it should be disciplinary.
Correct.
okay.
And with 5 days suspension without pay.
That's what we discussed. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
So Karen, can we get the verbiage on that? Can we get it corrected so we can
Yeah,
read
I'm
it out?
working on it. I need,
Okay, right.
Can someone just tell me what it should say?
All right.
Dr.
Should we be resolved, the Board of Education accepts the
Recommendation of.
notice for recommendation of disciplinary action. And this should be for 4.4.
Four.
And then add
Saving
in,
the charges to suspend without pay for 5 days, the following classified employee, and then the right number read in. For 4.4, which is,
from 4.5 into 4.4.
right, so.
Okay, so we're still pulling 4.5.
Right,
There we go.
4.4 should say disciplinary action for 5 days.
right.
The
Okay.
remainder of, right, what's being said on 4.5.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
So moved.
Second,
All right. And if there's no further discussion on that correction, we'll take the vote. Mr. Tillman,
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos,
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt,
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina,
Aye.
Dr. Hill,
I abstain.
and Dr. Flores.
aye.
Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you so much. And Karen, just please double check that we have everything correct on that. And I will move now to our public hearing, 5.0, 5.1, public hearing on Savant Preparatory Academy of Business Charter renewal. I am going to open up the public comment. And on December 9th, 2020, Ms. Eva Tillman led petitioners for the Savant Preparatory
I'm gonna
Academy.
leave the meeting, Madam President.
Yes, okay, I'll say it now. I was gonna say it later, but okay, go ahead. On December 9th, 2020, Ms. Eva Tillman led petitioners for the Savant Preparatory Academy of Business submitted a charter renewal petition to the Charter Schools Operation Department. A public hearing will be held at this time to consider the level of support for the charter petition. The board will not vote on Savant Academy's charter renewal petition at this time. So this is just a public hearing and there will be no action on it. I believe we have a presentation from Savant Prep, if I'm correct, Ms. Cunningham?
The video will be last. We will do all the public comments first and do the video
Okay.
at the end.
All right, we will take the public comments and then we will
Okay.
have a presentation.
All right, the first one will be Ms. Eva Tillman, if you can unmute.
Eva, are you there? I think
I'm
there she is.
there. Hello, everyone. To President Gwen Rogers, to Vice President Wyatt, all board members, cabinet, our interim superintendent, Dr. Volkermer, and really everyone joining us online tonight. Good evening. My name is Eva Tillman, and I am here with Jeanette Balcazar and Gia Reese as co-founders of Savant Preparatory Academy of Business. We come before you today just respectfully requesting the renewal of our charter school. We just really want to start by saying thank you. We are just sincerely grateful for the board's blessing to operate and serve our beloved San Bernardino community. It seems like yesterday, but it has been 3 years since we were initially approved. And we have had the chance to really do some great things with our scholars and parents. And so we are just grateful for that opportunity. We hope that it will be the decision of the board to renew our charter petition tonight for Savant Preparatory Academy of Business. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Madam President, our next speaker will be Gia Reese, if you would like to unmute.
I think I
And
saw-
my apologies, I believe it was Jeanette Balcazar who wanted to speak next. My apologies.
Okay, Jeanette,
You
are
could
you on the
unmute.
line?
Hi.
There you are.
Perfect. Hi. Hello, my name is Jeanette Balcazar. I'm Director of Curriculum and Instruction and co-founder of Savant Prep. And I'm just here to address our community tonight. We would like to begin by thanking the community that has supported us. To Dr. Owens and New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, Apostle and Dr. Dumas, and All Nations Worship Assembly, the San Bernardino Valley chapter of the Links Incorporated, headed by Ms. Kathleen Call, Jack and Jill of America, Pomona area chapter led by Patrice Cole Morrow. Just thank you all for everything you have done through your organizations to support our scholars, our babies. This is certainly a village, and we are grateful to everyone who has visited our campus, donated, or even liked or shared our success stories on social media. So we're just sincerely grateful for all of you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the next one is Ms. Gia Reese, if you'd like to unmute.
Good evening. My name is Gia Reese. I'm Director of Operations and co-founder for Savant Preparatory Academy of Business. I am addressing our parents and our scholars. To our courageous staff, dedicated parents, brilliant scholars, we honor you. We will continue to do this work with everything we have because you make it all worth it. We have created, or actually we have a 10-minute video prepared by Clarice Productions that highlights some amazing testimonials from our parents, students, and community supporters. So please sit back and enjoy this presentation.
Okay, our next speaker will be Christina Constantino. If you could unmute, please. Ms. Christina Constantino. Okay, Madam President, would you like me to move on and come back to her?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Next person is Nicholas D'Estacio. If you're available, could you please unmute?
Nicholas, are you there? I do see them on the screen.
I'm unmuting.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nick D'Estacio. I am a history teacher at Vallejo Middle School. I also am our union rep. So we are asking that you do not vote on this issue because many other things have already been put on hold due to COVID. We have not had adequate data from Savant to vote on their charter. We've not done testing, so there's no actual state test scores to support their claims. On top of that, as you have mentioned to one of our previous staff members, President Rogers, these aren't even students of our district. And when we've asked for follow-up data, we've never gotten any, so that's what was mentioned. On top of that, it is new, it's only TK through 2, and there's no kids of that age at our site. All of our site is 6+. So there's a huge age discrepancy to start with, which we've already brought up. The Savant Prep has provided assessment data for only one school year to the district that will need to be carefully analyzed prior to making a decision. And because we just received the petition yesterday, we did not have time to do that analysis prior to this meeting. While Savant portrays the assessment data as being strong, what it shows that 2 of 4 grade levels are below expectations in ELA, and 2 of 4 grade levels were below expectations in math. Now, obviously the pandemic has affected this, we understand, but it's affected all of our sites. And that's one of the reasons why we are requesting that this not be an issue that we take up at this time, that we are putting it off until we are having live in-session meetings once again. So beyond that, we have as a Del Vallejo site who is being told to cohabitate with this charter school. We has the largest enrollment of African-American students of any middle school K in San Bernardino City Unified at 20% for the 1920 school year. The enrollment of African-American students at Del Vallejo is nearly double that of every other middle school in the district. And that is not matched by Savant. It's supposed to be similar demographics, and Savant's demographics does not match our own. Del Vallejo serves high proportion of high need students. 96% of our students are disadvantaged, 10% are homeless, and 15 students with disabilities, and 16% are ELs. Again, this is another category that Savant fails to match us and be similar in demographics. While it is true that Savant does enroll a high percentage of African-American students, because they're focusing on the student population, their data shows 0 students with disabilities and only 85% socioeconomically disadvantaged, 4% homeless youth, and 0.07 English learner. The high needs student population of Del Vallejo deserves more, not less. Taking classrooms and campus space away from students who need it is the most wrong. Because of COVID, this co-location is a health and safety threat to our students, both Del Vallejo and Savant, when school buildings reopen, because of the shared use of many Del Vallejo spaces, including classrooms. And it will make social distancing nearly impossible for ourselves as staff members and our students to cohabitate this zone and maintain social distancing for either group. The school board needs to end or renegotiate the existing facility agreement with Savant and move them to a separate campus that is safe for their students as well as the students of that campus through the end of the pandemic. So no harm comes to any of our students or theirs. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Elisa Howe. If you can unmute, please. Elisa Howe, H-O-W-E, if you're available, please unmute.
I am looking at the screen. I don't think I see that name.
Okay, I'll go ahead and move on and come back. The next one is Tiana Phipps. If you're available, can you please unmute?
I do see her on the screen.
Okay, hello, hi.
Hello.
All right, thank you. I just want to say thank you for taking this time to allow me to speak. Although there are many reasons why Savant Prep should be approved for renewal, I would just like to share a few. Well, first, it's abundantly clear that Ms. Tillman, the founders, the teachers, everyone at Savant Prep Academy of Business are committed, they're passionate, they're dedicated to providing quality education for our students here in San Bernardino. Savant Prep has done an excellent job preparing our scholars, at the same time holding our scholars to high academic standards, and has maintained academic integrity, especially during these online academy days. I'm the parent of a 4th grader in online learning. And although it's new, it's challenging, Savant Prep is preparing our students to be tech savvy and to be resilient in difficult times like this. Number 3, most importantly, Savant Prep Academy of Business is effective in providing outreach and information to us parents. Savant encourages and provides many opportunities for parent interaction and engagement. Savant teachers work closely with scholars and parents to help them achieve their academic goals, as well as Savant has even provided a grounding course for our grade schoolers where they were able to learn coping skills and help now skills through activities in a group setting right from their home computers. Savant, I've seen the teachers in my daughter's 4th grade class stay late to make sure that every student understands the math concepts and that they're on point and on target. I believe it to be a privilege for my daughter to be learning and developing here at Savant Prep Academy. And I know this is just the beginning, as greater things are sure to come. Also, when I was in middle school in Carson, California, we had Southgate Middle School come to our campus, and we were predominantly African-American community school. Southgate, they bused the students to come to our school. We welcomed them with open arms, and we all got along, and we shared a campus, and everybody was okay at the end of the day. So I really appreciate you guys for letting me speak. Thank you, Savant Prep, all the parents and family support, and thank you for, again, your time.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Amber Cooper. If you're available, can you please unmute?
I am. Thank you for speaking with me this evening. I'd just like to start by saying that as an elementary educator, I've seen the ins and outs of public, private, and charter schools over time, none of which have compared to that of Savant Prep. Entering employment here was a life-changing step for me. I've always had a passion for teaching, but it wasn't until I was immersed into the Savant Prep culture that I was truly felt as if I was becoming a part of something that was larger than a textbook education. At Savant Prep, we are challenged as educators. Our scholars understand that they have goals and expectations to meet, and despite the academic and behavioral rigor, our scholars want to succeed because of the caring and supportive foundation in which is built into every classroom. This school year, my first grade scholars have managed to facilitate a strong community together, despite the barriers that they face through the screen. On a daily basis, they stay after school, after our full day on Zoom, and they work together on homework, as well as strengthen their bonds with one another, just talking and providing each other with support during these unprecedented times. Ultimately, our scholars come to realize that their success is truly dependent on their own efforts, and through the fostering of respectful behaviors and responsibility, I'm sorry, guys, I'm emotional. Our scholars are really defying the odds. Our founders are dedicated to providing our scholars with the opportunity to succeed with a rigorous curriculum and even a better opportunity in life. By renewing our contract with the school district, you're not only keeping our scholars open with their school, but you're providing them with hope and a future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker will be Natalie Noriega. If you're available, can you please unmute?
Hello, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I'm a parent of a Savant scholar. I'd like to thank the founders of Savant. Without your vision, we would not have this opportunity to be a part of this wonderful school. From what I've witnessed, every move made by them has been carefully curated with our children in mind. The focus from the leaders of the school is clearly student-centric. From the financial literacy curriculum to incorporating purpose and leadership within my daughter's learning environment is something I believe every child needs. Concepts are being taught that weren't even touched on until my senior year in high school. As a kindergartner, my daughter is being taught about the difference between a producer and a consumer and understands the importance and purpose of a budget. My son is in 11th grade and hasn't been taught these concepts. My daughter is willing and ready to teach her brother all about it. My scholar is excited about what she's learning and is truly blossoming into a future leader of San Bernardino City. Thank you to all who have worked tirelessly to ensure our children's education is taught at this high of a caliber and accelerated level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Lysandra M. Jones. If you're available, can you please unmute?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you to Madam President Rogers, Vice President Wyatt, and all the trustee and board members attending. Thank you all that just took out their time personally to attend this session. I'm here obviously as a public comment for Savant Preparatory Academy of Business charter renewal. I currently work in higher education administration and at a CSU, so I have years of background in education. However, my most important critical role is a mother of a first-time kindergartner. My son is 5 years old and not only has perfect attendance, but thriving at Savant Academy. Savant is not just another charter school with big dreams and a great idea. To not renew Savant Preparatory Academy of Business charter would be to remove a pillar that has been planted and is blossoming right here in the city of San Bernardino. Representation and support matters while thriving for excellence. As a full-time working single parent, I have also made the commitment, and I'm actively involved in every parent meeting, book club, school board meetings, school site council meetings. As a parent, the Savant community has been in support in offering tips, ideas, suggestions, and options on how to continue, how for our scholars to continue to grow and thrive when the world around us has been shut down. Meaning, Savant has invested in my family and we are invested in Savant. The founders, Ms. Tillman, Ms. Reese, and Ms. Balcazar, has shaped Savant to be a school that is instilling foundation, fundamentals, and a sense of community while remaining on Zoom and socially distant. We all know that's not easy. 2020 has not been kind to most, if not all of us. However, Savant teachers, administrators, and staff continues to encourage, teach at a caliber in which our kids are not being left behind. Excellence and compassion are a driving force that moves the Savant team to teach at a level that does not just check a box, goal met or not met. However, it ensures our children are learning sustainable skills while applying those tools and concepts now. As a kindergarten mom is learning that, my son is learning that the English language arts, He's learning math, doing well. Savant is also teaching him business concepts and writing concepts and typing concepts. He's typing very well with learning how to read and trying to open up a business. Like you just heard about producer and consumer concepts. Where current schools are currently overcrowded and we hear teachers do not have time or may not care, Savant has remained engaged, supportive, and solution-oriented to every obstacle that they have been faced with, especially during 2020. Savant has learned the art of the pivot without sacrificing the quality of excellent education. For some of you voting in the future, this may just be another school up for review. For some of you voting in the future, this may feel a personal challenge as to how a school can accomplish so much in the short 3-year time span. Just know that they're accomplishing greatness and they're going to continue to be a pillar of our community. Vice President Wyatt mentioned equity and social justice earlier in this evening. I took that in context as a very timely statement because education has not and is still not equitable in a lot of learning areas and geographic regions. In 2021, we think it is, but 2020 has showed us it's not. And we still have a lot of steps to climb to reach those goals. We often say it takes a village. In closing, I'm requesting, do not take away our village, but extend the Savant Preparatory Academy of Business Charter and watch how our growing generations thrive and build up our community right here in San Bernardino. Thank you all for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is, let me look at my list. Enjoli, Enjoli. If you're available, can you unmute?
I do see on the screen Enjoli. I do see it, but there's not a response. I'm still on mute. Enjoli, if you're there. If not, go ahead, Karen, and then we can just follow up on the.
Okay, I'll move on and come back. Okay, our next speaker is Kiana Robinson. If you're available, can you please unmute?
Okay, yes, I see.
Yes, good afternoon, or good evening, I should say. Thank you for taking the time out to allow us parents and people who definitely are rooting for Savant Prep to succeed. Me and my daughter started at Savant when they opened. She started in kindergarten. And honestly, it has been the best decision that one can make in my life. And I've had to make several decisions, including having kids. Savant, when they speak on excellence, I want to say Savant has surpassed it. They are just so amazing. The love and passion and dedication to our scholars, I've just never seen it before. And I know I love my children, but when I say I know that Savant, the staff, the teachers, the 3 founders, I know for a fact that all they want is our children to excel. Like, I know that from the bottom of my heart. There's just been so many different things that I didn't even know a school had to offer until I came to Savant, until my daughter started at Savant. They shocked me when within the first week or 2, they knew my daughter's first and last name alongside with all the other scholars. And to me, that stood out because it showed me that they wanted to take the time to get to know my child. They are just definitely a pillar in our community. And I think that it would do more damage than good to not renew them. I think that we all know it, even us, a lot of us here who are saying that they're against it. The reason they're saying it is because Savant is definitely probably way better than what they are. But I know that I hope and pray that my daughter can continue on with Savant. I know that I hope and pray that my 2 sons will be able to go to Savant when they're of age, because I want them to succeed. I know that them being at Savant, they have no choice but to succeed. And with our young African American, Latino, Asian, all ethnicities in today's time, we need bright young scholars to shape our future. And I think that Savant definitely molding and sculpting these scholars to do so. And so I just hope that you guys consider everyone talking here who's speaking positively about Savant, because honestly, it's just the best thing that could have ever happened to me and my daughter. I mean, what school requires parent hours? I mean, and I think that's the best thing that I've ever heard. They want their parents to be involved with the scholars' schooling. And everyone knows that, you know, when your parents are involved with education, the scholar will just excel. There's really no boundaries. So I just want to thank Savant for all they have done for me and my family. And by the way, my daughter has maintained being an honor roll student at Savant. And I'm just so proud of all the scholars there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Liliana Mendez. If you're available, can you please unmute?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Liliana Mendez. I'm part of the Del Vallejo ELAC. And I have my daughter, my baby, last child at Del Vallejo, and she is doing such a great job because Del Vallejo, she was able to increase her reading level in mathematics, because that's what she was struggling, because English is our second language. And so now she's in other classes at Cajon. She's doing very well. As when she came to Del Vallejo, she was not able to do those kind of problems. Mr. Hernandez, I'm very sorry to hear that he's not there no more. He was the very well teacher that was able to support us, because I couldn't teach that to my child. So board of the members, please place Savant requests on hold until we go back to school on campus, because we cannot use our funds for outside students of our judicial district area. Because when our English learners, special education and foster students are the most vulnerable, and we do not want to neglect them by putting to school in a small campus. They need our support one-to-one. We need the space in order to provide an accurate service, because also our enrollment is being increased due to this is the area for poor families, and this is where they are immigrating. So we need your support to see where the funds are being distributed in the area where it's being fair equally, not just for one partial school, but for both. I'm not here just to speak on behalf of one part. I'm here to speak in behalf of my community, on the house where I purchase the money that I pay taxes, because I believe in equality. And this is what I want: equality for all the students, English learners, special needs, foster students. They need our support. And if we do not provide them an accurate space and teachers to teach them, then we're neglecting our future. We need to build our students with a space available and with computers and with all sources that they need. And without money, we cannot do that. And we need to know where the money is going. Savannah School haven't provided the state support that they've been doing. We don't know what service they are providing, what areas they are given. We don't know if their students are from Fontana, Rialto, Bloomington, and that's not what it is. We're here to speak in behalf of San Bernardino community. And this is what I concern. And this is what I want all the board members to take in considerations. The funds that are being given by the Secretary of Education are for our our community, San Bernardino, 92404 area, not for outside of our boundaries. So please, I call very, very lovely to hear all the beautiful things, but we need to do what is right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ms. Hudson. If you're available, can you please unmute?
I think I saw her on the screen. Let's see.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see me?
And we can see you.
Absolutely. Let's go. So, good evening to you, Madam President, and to all in attendance tonight, especially to my Savant family. I am honored to speak in support of this amazing school. I will emphasize the word family because that is what I have truly gained since my daughter has attended this school in September 2020. And not outside boundaries, it's not important. My daughter is Nia Myers. She's a third grade scholar at Savant Preparatory School of Business. And she's in Principal Tillman's third grade class. My daughter started out in a college-ready, excellent elementary school since kindergarten. And usually she was the only Black kid in her whole class. She was the only Black kid in her whole entire class. And even though she excelled in their strenuous curriculum that I feel like is built against Black kids to accelerate, my daughter did an amazing job in the college accelerated classes. But she was still missing her passion in school and what her passion in life was about. Her culture, wanting to be challenged more and educationally wise. She wanted to be challenged more. This has been an especially challenging year for teachers, parents, and students due to virtual learning. But Savant has not allowed this pandemic to interfere with their dedication and their commitment to the success of their scholars. I have several family members that started with this school when they opened in 2017. So I have witnessed for several years going to award ceremonies, going to their Black History program that they conducted in 2019. I was sold. I live in Beaumont. I live 30 minutes away from this school. And although we are doing virtual learning at this point, I will be driving my child every single day to Savant so that she could get the education, not that people want her to get, but the education that she is interested in getting. Their dedication to the San Bernardino community and the change and the effect that they have had on their scholars, I feel like they're my scholars now, is beyond the honor that they deserve. Now I must talk about and highlight my child's teacher. And Miss Tillman, Principal Tillman, is extremely involved in her scholar strengths, their weaknesses, and pushes them to their fullest potential. She does not ignore the fact that they don't get it. It is her absolute passion to make sure every single one of her 23 scholars understand, get, and know exactly what she's trying to teach them. I have not found a teacher like that yet. She maintains her charismatic attitude and she has fun with her scholars and they learn, but she is also firm, fair, and consistent. And her scholars respect her and love her for that. As they learn and as they get disciplined by their teacher, they respect their teacher. You can't find many students nowadays that if their teacher's like, oh, they're not gonna respect them. They all of Miss Tillman's children respect her. I'm over the moon.
Ms. Huston, that's time, but you want to finish your thought?
Okay, yes. Let me wrap it up. Sorry. Dang. Thought I had time. I'm gonna leave it in my child's words because it's not about me, it's about my child. And she said I couldn't be more proud. My daughter, I couldn't be more proud. Miss Tillman has taught me how to be confident. She has taught me about Black history, and she has inspired me to be a Black advocate and a political revolutionary. And that's all I have to say. What more can a parent ask for? Thank you so much for your guys' time.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Tiffany Todd. If you're available, please unmute.
Is it? Okay, there she is.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to listen to what we have to say. I am in favor for the renewal of Savant to be renewed. When I first came to this school, I was skeptical, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a highly involved parent who takes pride in her child's education and who's highly involved in her child's education. The schools in my area, and I do live in San Bernardino, and I am a taxpayer. I do own my own home, and I will be purchasing another property. So I do pay taxes here. I did not like the school district. I didn't like anything around my area of where I live to put my child in. So I was most likely gonna have to put my child either in private school or homeschool her, because from what I've heard from other schools, I didn't like it. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, because when I heard about Savant and what they stood for, that they were a business school or a school who focuses on business and teaching my child, a lot of the things that I felt like me as a parent, I would have to personally teach her. I thought that was just exceptionally great. And I was really excited about that. My child is one of the first children who had attended there from kindergarten. She's now a second grader. The teachers are phenomenal. I love the way that they literally look at each and individual child and they will work around to what they need. My child's very hands-on. So of course, during this pandemic, she has been struggling because she wants to be in the classroom. She likes the competition. She loves that, being around her teacher and getting praise from her teacher one-on-one. So that is kind of, hard for us right now because of COVID. But when she was in school, even right now, she has been on honor roll. She has made principal's honor roll. Another thing I just honestly love about this school is the fact that they are a community and they want to involve parents into their scholars' education. Like one of the other parents said, we have to do parent hours. By us doing parent hours, my daughter loves the fact that I'm able to be there with her for field trips or, participate in school activities. That just really elevates her personally, and she's thriving off that. Another thing I wanted to mention was someone had brought up the fact that they don't want us on their campus, but what about our students? Due to COVID, it's been very unfortunate. No one foreseen COVID. I do understand they have their students to take care of, but we have students too. It was a very unfortunate situation where we had left our location before we knew COVID was going to happen. Paperwork had already been signed and that, all that stuff is done with. I don't know the ins and outs of that because I'm not, a member of this, I'm not a staff member, but I must say it's unfortunate that There's people out there who don't want our children, who are hard workers, who are excellent, who are striving to be their best. They don't want our students there on campus. Now, you got to think about it. Our students don't have a home to go to now, in a sense, because we were under the impression we were going to be going to this campus. And because of that, we don't know where we're going to go if you guys don't renew us and you don't allow us to be on this, on this property. Just overall, the school is excellent. There's been so many people who have been talking about Savant Prep in a positive manner. They do so much community service for the city of San Bernardino, and they're just an excellent pillar to the addition of San Bernardino County, which I think we would love to have. Like, we want to be represented in a positive light, and I think Savant Prep brings that. When you hear the name San Bernardino County, I would love for our name to be one of the names in the forefront when you think about San Bernardino County in the school district. Thank you for your time, and you guys have a lovely night.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Cheryl, no last name. So Cheryl, if you're available, please unmute.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hi. My name is Cheryl Wisner. I am the librarian at Del Vallejo. I have been at Del Vallejo, I believe this is my 25th year. I have been in the school district working for San Bernardino City Unified for about 32 years, I think. I was a student at Del Vallejo in 8th grade. So I have a very long history with Del Vallejo and a vested interest in it. I want to say, I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I don't do this very often. So in my 32 years in the district, I have not seen a staff that cares more for our students in school. I've seen them dig deep in their pockets to help those students who are in need. I want to thank the board, first of all, for taking comments. I really appreciate the tone that was set by Dr. Scott Wyatt's statement earlier. He said, oh, hold on, I wrote it down. He said, we all want justice and equity for our students. And with that in mind, I have 2 points, actually. I'm wondering where the equity is for San Bernardino City Unified School District students in giving Savant students financial priority. Savant students who we do not receive ADA for because they are not within the boundaries of San Bernardino City Schools. I believe it was $495,000 to begin, and I believe it's more than that now. That could be used for San Bernardino City Unified School District students. Further, I'm wondering how they justify giving Savant priority in assigning DV classrooms when DV itself does not have enough for our own students, assuming we return to in-class setting. There will be no room for our students to social distance because Savant is the board's priority over our own students at Del Vallejo. I believe they have 11 classrooms. Let's see, Savant, and they don't currently have the enrollment to warrant the number of classrooms that they have been allocated. I believe it's 11 in all, and I believe that there's going to be a request for more. Now, I have no doubt that Savant is a good school and it's a good place for students and parents, but I believe that there's a trade-off that has to be made here, and it will create an injustice and an inequity for DV students and for San Bernardino City Unified School students because of the money that is being funneled to this charter school, as well as the space that's going to take up on our campus. With that, I would like the board to hold off on Savant's renewal until we can all return to DV in person so that we can see how how this is all going to work. And ultimately, our goal, I know that the people that I work with, our focus and our priority is for our students. We do care about our students, and we are trying to make sure that we advocate for them so they get the best of the resources that should be allocated for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Grace Beatty. If you're available, please unmute. President Rogers, I understand that she's got to dial in, so it might take her a couple seconds.
Okay, Yeah, I don't see on the screen.
She's calling in, I believe.
Got it.
Okay, well,
We
I'll
have
go
her.
ahead and move
If
on.
you-
And we can
Yeah, if
come
you don't
back.
have her on the line, or if she calls in, if we can just put her on hold,
Okay,
go from there.
all right, so our next.
Hello, do you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Is it you, Miss Beatty? Yes, we see you now.
I am Grace Beatty. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank my colleagues for being brave enough to emerge out of the shadows. I am a union rep at Del Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy. I have taught here for over 20 years, and I have lived in this community for more than 25 years. I am here to give my comments tonight as a concerned citizen as well. First, there really is not a lot of trust between us. Therefore, I am compelled to ask, what are your reasons for changing this platform? Correct me if I am wrong, but there may be legal issues here depending on intent. There might be serious questions concerning free speech because this platform is paid for by taxpayers for our benefit and convenience, especially during COVID. Staff has been stonewalled and kept in the dark for nearly a year. We have waited patiently for documentation that has never materialized. Perhaps we should send our written comments to the media because clearly this board does not hear our message. This board continues to favor this charter school with little or no documentation of its success. Furthermore, there is a charter housed in Cathedral of Praise, a stone's throw away from Del Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy. Initially, members of this board and cabinet claimed Savant was part of our district. That was not true. Then you told our staff that it was a mistake not to seek parent, student, staff, and community input about housing an elementary charter on the middle school campus. I said then, and I reiterate now, it is only a mistake if you are willing to correct it and do better. Members of this board claimed that Dr. Mitchell had not been transparent, yet this board continues to disregard our concerns for our students and their families, especially during a pandemic. We cannot spare the space. Currently, our politicians are debating whether to pass President Biden's relief bill, one that will give families an additional $1,400 because people are suffering. In our community, in our country, 8 million kids on any given night don't have food to eat, and 29 million adults. Del Vallejo serves multiple populations of high-need students. 96% of our students are socioeconomically disadvantaged. 10% homeless, 16% English learners, and over 15% with disabilities. Savant has little to no students enrolled with disabilities to this day, none. This board gifted almost $500,000, several classrooms, including our entire special education building, to a board member's daughter for her charter school, Savant. Do you know how many students in this community go to bed hungry? Do you know how many families have been evicted to this date? It bears repeating. I live in this community, and I see furniture set out by dumpsters at apartments every weekend. The students at Del Vallejo Leadership and STEAM Academy need this board to put them first, to care about them, to understand the challenges they face day and night. Where is the empathy? That nearly $500,000 would have been better used to serve the needs of the students in this community rather than the small population of Savant students from outside our district? Why this community, where students are already economically disadvantaged? Clearly, based on the testimonials, Savant may thrive anywhere. Therefore, find a more suitable location. The school board needs to postpone renewing Savant's charter or renegotiate the existing facilities agreement with Savant. Move the charter to a more suitable location and refrain from being frivolous with taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kathy Lagunas. If you're available, please unmute now.
Good afternoon, school board members and all the guests. I'm in favor to renew Savant. I'm speaking as a staff of Savant Preparatory Academy. The first time I stepped foot on campus, I realized the impact the school has done for the San Bernardino County. As a substitute teacher, I've subbed in different schools and I've never met anyone so passionate about their school. Gia, Jeanette, and Eva have a vision for the school and have come a long way from where they started in such a short amount of time. Just imagine what else the founders would be able to do. What the impact of COVID has done with Savant has made sure each and every student have all the materials they have and need to ensure success. We're a school who generally care about each student. Each student knows how much the teachers care for them. Savant is focused on financial literacy. We want students to not only succeed, but to have financial stability. But not only that, which fourth grader is learning how to write college essay papers? Savant students, that's who. Savant is not only a school, we are a family. From the comments of another parent, she drove 30 minutes to Savant. Which student, which parent does that? That means that can tell you the importance of Savant. With Del Vallejo, we're not taking anyone's space. We were only using rooms that we're not using before. Even before COVID, these rooms were not being used. We didn't take any of the students' rooms. Our students deserve the same space as anyone else. We inspire all students to become more than just a student. We inspire them to become leaders. I ask you with much respect to renew our school. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is,
thank you,
Tiffany Hood. If you're available, please unmute.
Hello, my name is Tiffany Hood. I am a teacher, avid and English language arts at Del Vallejo Middle School. I've been a teacher here in this district for about 23 years. I am speaking on behalf of myself and some of the shared comments from some of my other colleagues. My greatest concern, as we've discussed on our site, is that of our students. We acknowledge that the pandemic has made it difficult to assess students in all schools, in all areas, including Savant. But we also realize that as you prepare for your vote at some point, that hopefully more analysis will be done on the data that is being provided. Del Vallejo serves a has high proportions of students with high needs. We, again, it's been mentioned, have a lot of students with who are socially economically disadvantaged, who are homeless, students with disabilities, and English learners. We are looking to, and we know that our district or our students need our support from the community, from the teachers, as well as from the district. The high needs student population that Del Vallejo serves deserves more, not less. It appears that we're at this point taking away from Del Vallejo students. The students have a need for those special ed rooms and for the other classrooms. To take a special ed building where we have a high population of special education students away from our students to give to a school who has no special ed students seems quite concerning. The other thing is it seems to create a greater inequity for our students. We are trying to build our students up just as they are, but we don't want to have to lose anything for our students in the process. Another really large concern at this point is, yes, we understand that some of these decisions were made prior to the pandemic and no one could foresee it coming. But I am asking that you withhold any votes on renewing this charter or renewal of, or any requests by Savant until after the schools and the district has gone back on site and into in-person business in the district. The great concern is we have some large classes. If we have lost classrooms, if there is the need, as is suspected, that we continue to do some distancing and reduction in class sizes to safely return, we will not have the space to do that safely for our students or for the staff who are working with them and trying to help and build up our students to help them be successful. So once again, I ask that you withhold your vote until we are back in the district with district business, district classrooms, and everyone back on campuses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is first name only, Leah. Leah, if you're available, please unmute.
Yes, good evening, board. I want to request a hold upon the school Savant renewal. This is because vaccines are out, which will lead to students going back to school. If Savant is placed in the school de Vallejo, the students that live in the area would have to be transferred to a new school. Most guardians won't have the time to take their child to a school that's far from where they live. Also, school buses don't pick up children that are being transferred. This would affect the students' academic studies, and De Vallejo has taught me so well that now I'm an IB student and an advanced placement. They prioritize their students so much. The teachers there had stayed with me after school to help me understand their curriculum. Now I am thriving in school due to their excellent teachings. We also have to keep in mind our safety precautions. As students, we don't want to be at risk of getting the virus. How do we know if the younger kids would follow these safety precautions? According to the Harvard Health Publishing, it's hard to tell when a child has COVID-19, and it could be life-threatening to them. And they should also be limited to being around other children. How would we be able to limit our surroundings when 2 schools are being placed at a small campus? We should take into consideration the health of all students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jacqueline Jones. If you're available, please unmute now.
I don't see that name on the screen either.
Okay, I'll go ahead and move on and come back. Our next speaker is Britannia. If you're available, will you please unmute?
I'm not seeing.
Not seeing her. Okay, let me move to the next one. All right, I'm starting to cycle over to the ones that didn't respond.
From beginning, thank you.
Yes. Christina Constantino, are you available now? Okay. Elisa Howe, are you available? Okay. Anjoli, are you available? And let me see. And then we're back to Jacqueline Jones.
Okay. And I didn't see those names with the exception of Anjali, but it still was showing mute, so.
Okay, and then Britannia, that's it. So I'm assuming they're not available.
Okay, thank you so much for navigating us through the comments. And so board, again, as I said at the beginning, this is a public hearing, so we will not be taking any action or voting on anything. This is a public hearing where we hear information. Is there anything else the board have any questions or comments or clarifications before I close the public hearing? And I'm not seeing anything in the chat, but I know
And don't
President-
forget the video, ma'am.
Oh, yes, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay, we can go ahead and then move to that. And I'll watch from their board members. I will watch the chat to see if anything comes up from you all. Okay, we can move into the presentation video.
Challenging and fun.
Engaging, relevant, and impactful.
These kids want to be there. They want to be at school. They want to participate. They want to raise their hands. They want to get those grades. They want to be successful. And I think that's because of that excellence that they're instilling in the children. And to me, if anyone who wants my daughter to be the best she can be, I appreciate you, because that means they have the same goal that I do.
My name is Eva Tillman, and I am principal and co-founder of Savant Preparatory Academy of Business. When you decide to become a charter school, you have to identify a unique focus that is different from any school within that community. And so for us here at Savant Prep, we wanted our students to have a unique focus on financial literacy and entrepreneurship.
I'm the CEO of Lollipops Lip Drop.
The name itself, Lollipops Lip Drop, was made by Malaya and Miss Tillman together. When she said the lip gloss, there was like a light bulb that kind of went off. And that night she began to plan out what would end up being this amazing business that she runs on her own.
She's telling me that I got to go home and get rest because I got school in the morning, and she's looking forward to it. And so when we're just riding along in the car, she starts a conversation with me. She's like, so who's the mayor? I'm like, who's the mayor? I said, well, so I tell her who the mayors are. She said, I think I want to be the mayor. I have to believe that through her instruction, through her engagement with her teacher on the different subject matter that you all provide, she has retained this and put it together to formulate this question and this inquiry into political involvement on a mayoral status.
Then I was excited because they had a library, but they needed more. I said, give me a list. What do you need? What do you want? I promise you, whatever you need and what you want, you will get. Why? Because I want those future students to have what they want. I want the first or second Black female president to come out of your program. I want that engineer, that astronaut to come out of your program. So we have worked the last 2 years to make sure that whatever they need, that they will get.
Hi, my name is Gia Reese, Director of Operations and co-founder of Savant Preparatory Academy of Business. As a parent of a Savant Prep scholar, parents play an intricate role in the development of the program. I've had an experience where at other schools, students are identified by a student number, but I make it a personal point as the Director of Operations to ensure that I know all students by their name, whom they're connected to, who their parents are. For some of our parents, it is very important for them to know that when they drop their scholars off, that they are dropping them off to someone that cares about their student.
After talking in detail with Ms. Reese, and she guaranteed my child that she don't have to worry, that they will wrap their arms, of protection and be for certain that the child is safe at all times. And that was just the icing on the cake.
So it's so much more than just an education. My daughter has grown so much personally in every single class because they see who she is and they're willing to wrap their arms around her, but push her and promote her to go forward. And that's the love and care that our Black children need.
Considering the experience that I have had with other schools, I am happy to be amongst my colleagues where everyone in the building love their students, want their students to succeed, where everyone in the building put the students' needs before their own, where everyone in the building want excellence for their students.
My name is Jeanette Balcazar. I am Director of Curriculum and Instruction and co-founder for Savant Prep Academy of Business. At Savant Prep, we provide resources for minorities to thrive and find their sense of purpose. We're blessed to have a large population of African American students in which we have taken the time and dedication to just embrace diversity.
We're a biracial couple with biracial children, and they went to a predominantly white school. They weren't getting exposure to diversity.
When she transferred from the school she was at before to Savant, we immediately saw a change in her temperament for school. Like there was an excitement because she could relate to people who were there, not only in her classroom at peer level, but also the people that were teaching her.
They teach us about more parts of Black history. Like at other schools, they don't tell us the whole story, but at Savant, they make it clear about the stories.
Why is that important to you?
Because we need to learn about not just some history, we need to learn about all of it.
With George Floyd's death, like I tried to talk to them, except they didn't really understand what I meant at all. Except with Savant, I can relate to people and they understand what I mean because they've gone through it.
And during the pandemic has been, in one word, flawless. Another word could be seamless. We are serving our scholars through the screen with the same integrity, with the same intensity, and with the same rigor we had on campus. Being the kindergarten teacher, we have been able to transition our kinders from 2 hours a day to now 5 full hours on Zoom, no complaints, no naps, no crying. We are ready. They understand the expectation and they meet the expectation.
Every day, I really appreciate the creativity that goes into the curriculum. To be online with kindergartners and to keep them engaged and happy, I mean, just something that blows me away because they are not online for a short amount of time. So they're online for several hours, and throughout that time, they're interacting with their teacher. They're excited about interacting with each other. They're really engaged in what they're learning. Their teacher is singing with them. They are up dancing and moving, and it is all purposeful. My child has a good time, but I even have a good time sometimes listening. So when I get a chance to listen and I hear a song and a little bit of beat happen, I'm like, yes, this is cracking.
It was said that it could not be done. It was said that students could not walk in straight lines, Black students at that. It was said that Black students could not pay attention in class and listen and be successful. But we are proving those people wrong.
Savant's the reason that we still live here. If it wasn't for Savant, we would have moved out of the area. But because of Savant and because I want him and my youngest to have their first part of their education, hopefully more than that, at Savant, we're here still.
Familia, porque realmente eso es lo que Savant Preparatoria nos ha hecho sentir como padres, que somos una familia, que estamos enfocados en la educación de los niños. Y agradezco a Miss Telma, agradezco a Miss Balcazar, agradezco a Miss Ruiz por ese sueño que ustedes tuvieron y lo están compartiendo con nuestros niños. Y me llena de orgullo de ver cómo están preparando a estos niños. Gracias por su sueño y gracias por compartirlo con nuestros niños, el futuro.
We have birthed something that we were dreaming of. Children that were told that they couldn't succeed are successful. So success is Savant Prep. Whew. And I feel like, provided the opportunity, every child that we touch is going to be successful. Whoa, didn't expect that one. 1 + 1 is 2.
Outside the window.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that presentation. And I am not seeing anything else in the chat at this time. So again, thank you for all your comments, and thank you again for the presentation and all of the speakers tonight. I am now moving into, I thought I heard something. No, we're moving now to 6.1 to our public comments. And
President Rogers, I do have a few questions. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Miles.
Thank you. That was a really great presentation, by the way. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you to the public for all that great input. I just have a couple questions, I guess, for cabinet in regards to some information that I can maybe review on Savant. So like, I didn't have a clue that we had a charter school, you know, Savant in our district prior to, you know, a couple months back. But I would like to get more information on maybe like number of enrolled students, total number of enrolled students. I did hear that it was a brand new charter school, 3-year recent charter school. Maybe number of students that come from outside. So like all of that data, demographic information on their student population. And then also it would be a good opportunity for me to be able to see and understand how the district does their monitoring of charter schools in general. And specifically for Savant, maybe, you know, how is Savant monitored, and are other charter schools monitored in the same way? Maybe get that information, and maybe a copy of, you know, the goals. I don't know how that works. So whatever goals the charter school has, and then, you know, what the progress has been. And I know that as I heard various comments already, that there has been, you know, COVID, and it's, you know, so I do understand that there might be some challenges with that. So yeah, if you know, I can get some of that information, I'd really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ceballos. And Dr. Volkemer, were you capturing that? And I know if there was anything else, Ms. Hopwood was also online as well.
Madam President, I also have a question.
No, I see you in the chat. I just want to, I know Myra's trying to get clear and trying to get up to speed. So I wanted to be clear for her as well. Okay, so now that we have that, there is, Dr. Flores, you are in the chat.
Yes, and I think this question is for Dr. Volkemer. What is the timeline, Dr. Volkemer, for the board to for approval of renewals?
I don't know that off the top of my head, Dr. Flores, but I believe Mrs. Hopwood is on the call this evening. Is that correct? She may be able to give us the specifics. I know there's a prescribed timeline. I just don't know the exact dates.
She's there, Ms. Hopwood.
Good evening, board. I am Mrs. Hopwood, and I'm happy to provide all the information that's been requested thus far. Also, we do have a timeline that once the petition is turned in, we do have 90 days. And at this point in time, we will have to call a vote on March 2nd. So I'll provide all of that information, including our findings, which will be posted 15 days prior to the vote.
When you say findings, Ms. Hopwood, what do you mean?
So there's strict guidelines that we have to follow when we're renewing, including the new law that's related to the academic portion. So we will be providing all of that information to the board. And it's also vetted with all of our staff. We have included directors from all departments to chime in and review the petition that's been submitted. So we will comb through that and provide the staff's findings.
Are those the 15 or 16 criteria that they have to meet?
Yes.
Okay, so okay. And will the board get this prior, not on the night of March the 2nd, but how early will we get the report?
Yes, so the report will come to you as soon as possible. It's currently being prepared by our attorneys with the staff input. And I do have some information here from Suki. She says 90 days is the total time, and that we can agree to an extension if it's needed by mutual agreement. There are some new requirements, as I mentioned before, and we will be looking over those new requirements and providing that information. The findings will be posted 15 days prior to the vote for public information.
And then I have a couple other questions. We've had several staff members make comments and their concerns regarding the facility and so forth. And I would like you to follow up with them to get more specific clarification from the staff and also the parents. And I also, you know, I appreciate Savant's mission and goals. It clearly shows that they are very family oriented, very student oriented, very success oriented. And I do want them to succeed, but I also want us to be fair to everyone, you know, in terms of, I guess the issue that I see is the site location. Could you ask our attorneys if, you know, and I don't know, I haven't seen if Savant has projected growth, if they have projected growth. I know that this is a 5-year renewal, so I haven't seen it and I don't know what their projected growth is. So, and I don't even know if the site that they're at would even handle their growth. So I would like you to look into that as well, because I haven't seen it. So I really don't know what it is. Have you given us that? Have you given us their renewal contract? Have we gotten that, Ms. Wood?
Not yet.
Yeah, see, so there's a lot of questions that I have about that. So did you get all of my questions?
I did. I got them all.
And please ask our attorney. Okay,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And board, are there any other information? Thank you, Ms. Hopwood, for that clarification so that everyone knows what stage we're at right now. And you'll be presenting that. Not only will we receive that information, but the charter school will also be aware as well. Dr. Volkermer, did you have something else you wanted to add? I see you off mute. I know you are, I had requested you meeting with the school site as well, so that their questions are being answered along the way. And I think that is happening.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we're happy to provide that information for you, board, and we'll continue to get clarity about questions that the staff has and do our best to get those answers back to them.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you, Dr. Flores and Ms. Ceballos. And I'm not seeing anyone else off mute and a comment. Okay, thank you again. All right, I am going to read public comments. Is the time during the agenda?
Madam President?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Did we get Mr. Tillman back into the meeting now?
If no one's called him, I will.
Okay, I just wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure.
I can say hey. or the VP, but I'll go ahead and do it right now. Let's see.
Madam President or Madam Vice President.
Yes.
I mean, Mr. Vice President, I'm sorry. Sorry, Dr. Wyatt. I just thought one other thing, Dr. Bokemer, if you don't mind adding to your list. I hope you can get a chance to speak with the AAO staff just to see if they have the space they need to run their program.
Happy to do that, Dr. Hill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. All right, so we will continue to gather information because communication is very important. So we want to do that. And thank you, Dr. Bokemer, for being diligent about that. I don't see Mr. Tillman coming in just yet, so he should. Let's see. And then I know we're using the new process. So did we clear out all of our previous speakers? I don't want to get ahead of communication. I know they.
Yeah, no, we did finish all those, but we have one public comment for when you're ready.
Okay, I'm going to read that, and I'm just making sure that we're back on the line clear because I know people will jump out. Often they still can continue to watch the board meeting, but if they've made their comments, I think they log out. Was Mr. Tillman back in? Did I see him come in on the screen yet? No. Hang on. Thank you, Carla. That would be Mr. Tillman. He's definitely back. I know that ringtone. Okay. Public comments is the time during the agenda when the board is prepared to receive comments from the public within their subject matter jurisdictions, such as policies, regulations, and procedures of the district, comments on programs, services, or operations of the district, or fiscal matters of the district. You may address your comments to specific items on the agenda. However, this is the only time the public will have an opportunity to address the board on items not on the agenda. Pursuant to the provisions of the Governor's Executive Order N2920, dated March 17, 2020, certain requirements of the Ralph M. Brown Act are suspended. If you would like to make a live comment at district board meetings, a registration form is required. Forms can be found on the district's website and Facebook. This regulation form is available 24 hours prior to all scheduled Board of Education meetings and will close at 4:30 on the day of the meeting. Public comments are still limited to 5 minutes per person. A timer will be visible on the screen during your comments. Participants are reminded that any inappropriate language or images will forfeit their registration and they will immediately be removed from the meeting. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because these comments are made at a public meeting. All right, Ms. Cunningham.
Okay, we only have one public speaker and her name is Gabby, no last name. If Gabby's available, please unmute now.
And I'm looking through to see. I do not see a Gabby on the screen.
Okay.
All right.
And that will be it, Madam President.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we are now going to move to 7.0, reports and comments by union organizations, and 7.1, San Bernardino Teachers Association.
Good evening, President Rogers.
Good evening.
Members of the board, Vice President Wyatt, Interim Superintendent Bokemer, and Cabinet. I'm Ashley Vitas-Alcala, President of the San Bernardino Teachers Association. And I'm speaking to you tonight on behalf of the 3,000 members of SBTA. Tonight, I would first like to recognize that this first week of February is National School Counseling Week. This year's theme is All In for all students. And SBTA would like to take a moment to recognize and sincerely thank all of the dedicated school counselors in SBCUSD who work tirelessly to support our students each and every day. Thank you for your service. Since you last met, the COVID-19 numbers in the school district and county have finally started to slowly decline, and the state has lifted the stay-at-home order only because the projected increase over the next 3 weeks in ICU capacity is actually it's projected to decline over the next 3 weeks within our Southern California region. But even though this stay-at-home order has been lifted, our numbers still keep us firmly in the purple tier, which means that COVID is still widespread throughout San Bernardino County. Also of note, in the 2 weeks since the board last met in January, the case numbers for our children ages 5 to 19 within our district boundaries has increased by another 300 cases, bringing the total children affected by COVID in our district closer to 5,000 total cases. Although we're seeing a glimmer of hope as the vaccines are being distributed throughout the state, we are still waiting for educators to be able to access the vaccine in San Bernardino County. We know that Riverside is already providing vaccines to those in Tier 1B, which educators are a part of, but we are anxiously awaiting for San Bernardino County to come on board. And we are working with the district to find out if those vaccination clinics will be offered at our sites to our employees. And as these case numbers are starting to gradually decline, we still must be vigilant to continue to do our part to flatten the curve. And I again want to thank the board for their commitment to their decision to continue distance learning through the end of the school year. I would also like to let the board know that SBTA has been meeting with the district in good faith since October to negotiate a successor COVID MOU. While we are very close, we were still not able to come to an agreement prior to its expiration on January 31st, 2021. I am hopeful that by the time the board meets again in 2 weeks, that this issue will have been resolved. Tonight, the board also held a hearing on the charter renewal application for Savant Prep Academy. And as you heard from our courageous members from the site, we are in an unprecedented COVID pandemic. And due to that, there still remain numerous health and safety concerns for the board to consider in relation to the renewal and the current facilities agreement in relation to the co-location on the Del Vallejo campus. And due to these threats, we expect the board to relocate them if they're able to. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And we are at 7.2, California School Employees Association. Is there someone on the line?
Good evening, Madam President, Vice President, Dr. Wyatt,
Hello.
board members, staff, and faculty. It is truly an honor to speak before you this evening. I am Burnett Ellis, Environmental Compliance Technician for the district.
I'm sorry, but we can't hear you.
How's that? You hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. I am Burnett Ellis, Environmental Compliance Technician for the district. I've worked for the district now for approximately 6 years. I also am the Chief Steward for CSEA Chapter 183, representing approximately 2,000 bargaining unit members. And I'm also honored to do that. Over the past year, CSEA and the administration have negotiated many MOUs in an effort to create a better working environment for the employees. We are working diligently to achieve this goal, although we may not see eye to eye on every subject, but through hard work, we do endure and we work through our issues. However, I am concerned when the efforts of this administration and CSA put forth are taken for granted. One manager can affect and disrupt all that hard work that this administration and CSEA put forth. I cannot tell this board nor this administration how to operate, but a manager who would undermine all the great things that this administration and CSEA does should not be tolerated. Currently, CSEA and this administration have been working for approximately 1 month on a return to work MOU. One sticking point is hazardous pay. Although counties have partially reopened because our numbers are declining, we must remember it wasn't the lack It was the lack of bed space in our emergency rooms that landed us where we are. And those numbers have not adjusted much. There are many employees working in district, most are at home. However, those who are working must be such essential workers. They come to work daily, risking their health and the health of their families. If this is the case, those workers should be compensated for that risk. Lastly, it has been almost a year now that we have gone through this pandemic. I would like to say job well done to the school police department, warehouse, nutrition services, and this administration, which has worked tirelessly through this pandemic. I know I'm leaving out someone and I apologize, but you all should be applauded. Our campus security officers are currently amping up to go back to campuses to secure our campuses and district properties. Both the police and security departments keep us safe and protect the district's employees, properties, and assets. In that same vein, we should do all we can to keep them safe and provide for them the assurance and confidence that this board and administration has their back as they've always had ours. We're all one big team and we all have to respect that. Here's a quote from Phil Jackson. The strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. Thank you. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you. Moving now to 7.3, Communication Workers of America. Is there a representative?
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and honorable board members and cabinet. This is Teresa Hunter with CWA 9588. First of all, I'd like to thank you for memorializing two of our guest teachers who have transitioned in the last month or so. And we will miss them because they were well known in the group of guest teachers. Anyway, coming up, the informational town hall coming up on February 9th will be of great interest to us because we're looking forward to getting our guest teachers back to work as soon as possible, like everyone else. We know that there's a lot of questions out there still about getting vaccinated, who can, who will, who won't, who doesn't want it, all these types of things. I've received a lot of questions personally from guest teachers. There's a lot of opinion out there, so we're looking forward to this upcoming town hall on February 9th. So thank you so much and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. 7.4, San Bernardino School Police Officers Association. Is someone present tonight? Looking. Any representative? No? Okay. I will then move to 8.0 presentation. 8.1, our academic achievement update from our district. Looking forward to that. So Dr. Volkemer, you're gonna cue them up.
Great. Thank you, President Rogers. Board, based on your request earlier in the school year, we're bringing back student achievement data centered on both D's and F's and attendance. And what we'll cover this evening will be the entire district in terms of attendance and giving you an update on where our attendance figures are. For D's and F's, we're going to revisit what we shared with you before, which was our first quarter grades, and then compare them to our first semester or second quarter grades. Just at the middle school level, we were going to try to do both middle school and high school, and it just got to be a little bit too large of a presentation, so we're going to split it in two. We've also prepared, as you see that comparative data, you'll notice that it has come down some, and we wanted to prepare a video that gives you an inside look at what our teachers and support staff are doing to provide support to our students during distance learning in order to increase achievement and lower the number of D's and F's. As I mentioned, we do have a decline in the number of D's and F's. We're happy with the decline, but we're certainly not satisfied with the overall result, and we will continue to work very diligently and deliberately in terms of making our kids more successful. And as I mentioned, we'll provide a similar presentation to this one for high school data on February 16th. I want to thank our team for preparing the presentation. A lot of time goes into these presentations. We know they, sometimes appear to come off flawlessly, but this is probably the 6th, 7th, 8th iteration of the presentation. By the time you've seen it, we dig in, chew on it, get some input, get some feedback. And so I want to thank our team. I want to give a special shout out to all of those teachers, and some of whom you'll see this evening, and other support staff that are going way above and beyond to help our students be successful. We're very thankful for all you're doing, and you'll see some shining examples of this in the video this evening. So I believe I'm going to turn it over to Rachel to get us started, and then Anna and Dr. Rodriguez will share the data with you. Rachel, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Volkemer. If we can get the presentation pulled up, please. Thank you. Well, good evening, Madam President Rogers, Vice President Wyatt, board members, community, and staff. Thank you for our opportunity to share what has been going on academically, as Dr. Volkemer shared, in SBCUSD for the school year in the area of grades and attendance. Next slide, please. So tonight we have 4 objectives. You will receive updates on our COVID cases to date, both county and school district. We are happy to say that they are starting to dip, not enough, but we're starting to at least trend in a different direction. And then the core of the presentation this evening will be the DNF rates for semester 1 at our middle schools. Again, high schools will be shared next board meeting. You will receive an update on our attendance to date. And that attendance will be for all of our schools, kindergarten or TK through 12th grade, as well as chronic absenteeism. And then finally, you will hear next steps for our SBCUSD Accelerated Student Achievement Plan. We've changed the name a little bit so we can call it SBCUSD ASAP. And so Ms. Applegate will share a bit about where we're going to be going with that. Next slide, please. So board, a quick recap of last board meeting on January 19th. That was the first time where you welcomed live comments from the public since March 2020. And so you delivered on a promise to improve communication with your constituents, to be commended. So thank you for that support in that area. During that same board meeting, the governor's budget proposal had been shared. And so we are in a better position than previously anticipated for this year and next, but we still have to be cautious because there will be deficits moving into future years, as well as some projected enrollment challenges. Third big occurrence on January 19th, you reaffirmed your decision to stay in distance learning and opted not to pursue the governor's Safe Schools for All grant proposal. So we thank you for that. And as you know, the governor and the legislature put a pause on that as well. So you were once again forward thinking as a board. And then finally, you expressed a commitment to work with our local healthcare partners to educate individuals and to partner with public health to make the COVID-19 vaccination available to the community. And so we will give you a brief update on what's going on with the vaccines. And you heard our president for CWA mention a town hall. So we'll share a bit about that. Next slide, please. So quickly, board, these continue to be the guiding principles during this pandemic. Ensure health and physical safety of students and staff. We still maintain that. New guidance comes out or updates to that. And we are preparing to offer small group instruction or small group in person when you deem it safe to do so, making sure we're adhering to federal, state, and county guidelines. Tonight, we're gonna hone in and focus on providing high quality learning experiences and what that means for our scholars, specifically in our middle schools, and then doing that while providing safe and accessible working conditions. So these continue to be your guiding principles, and we are appreciative of your leadership. Next slide. And then finally, board, just to keep anchoring back to our progression of instructional models, we continue to stay in phase 1 distance learning for all. We stay in phase 1 through the end of this school year per your decision and your action on November 17th. And we will offer, when you deem it safe to do so, small group phase 2 supports for our students that would be identified, but we're not there yet. And with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Batir, who will go through some COVID data for you. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Dr. Menares. Good evening, board, cabinet, and community. I'll show you on the next slide our weekly COVID case rate, just as a reminder. We do continue to remain in the purple tier. We are way above the 7 new cases per day that we need to have to fall into the next tier down. Next slide, please. In the latest 7-day report period, January 17th through the 23rd, we started to observe a slight decrease in our new reported cases within the county and our district boundaries. The cities of San Bernardino and Highland have only begun flattening, both exceeding last week's new case numbers this week. 188 new cases in children and just under 1,300 new cases in the community were reported within our district boundaries. Within our boundaries, we have continued to maintain the second highest number of new community cases since the beginning of the pandemic. Cases in children are also at the second highest of any San Bernardino County district at a total of 4,600 new cases. In the next couple slides, I'll provide you an update on the vaccinations. Next slide, please. So the state has launched a Vaccinate All 58 campaign. They've also launched a webpage, myturn.ca.gov, where individuals can register for notifications and see which tier they may fall within. 3.5 million doses have been administered statewide. With each person needing 2 doses each, this means that only about 1.7 million Californians can currently receive both doses. As you know, being the largest in the nation, San Bernardino County has over 2 million residents alone. To date, only 170,000 vaccines have been provided to our county. Today, the county stood up a super site at the Fontana Speedway and distributed 3,500 first dose vaccinations. Appointments filled up within 20 minutes of opening online. The demand for vaccinations outpaces the current supply. We are currently partnering with the Department of Public Health by hosting a larger vaccine site currently reserved for second doses only at Arroyo Valley High School. The Department of Public Health, Loma Linda University, and Borrego Health have all expressed interest in standing up additional vaccination locations to meet the needs of our students, families, and employees using our schools once the vaccines are available. As the tiers progress and doses become available, we will continue to message to our families and employees. In knowing that our district is a trusted source of information to our community, we will be hosting a virtual town hall meeting on February 9th from 6 to 8 p.m., where doctors from Loma Linda University, Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, including a member of the county's vaccination task force, will provide an update and take questions from our families and employees on the vaccines. Next slide, please. And board, finally, as I explained in the previous slide, you can see the tiers and availability for us and surrounding counties are still focused primarily on healthcare, first responders, and those aged 65 and older. And that's your update for COVID this evening. Thank you, President Rogers and board, for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right, Ds and Fs looks like it's the next.
Next slide, please. Good evening, President Rogers and Vice President Wyatt, Board, Dr. Volkemer, Cabinet. As Dr. Volkemer mentioned, I'm going to be circling back to some of the data that was brought forth back in December. So we brought a report on our Ds and Fs around our chronically absent students. And at the time you requested that we bring back D and F data on all of our students. So what you will be seeing tonight are the first quarter progress report grades as compared to the first semester grades for all of our students. And as Dr. Volkemer mentioned, we're going to be focusing on middle school this time so that we can also bring you a comprehensive report at the high school level. So next slide. So what you see here, board, is now a comparison with the blue graph, the blue bar of the first quarter grades as compared to the orange bar, which are semester grades. And as you can see, there was a little dip in the district overall of students that are receiving Ds and Fs in English language arts in middle school. And across the board, you can see our different student groups that the trend continues, that the Ds and Fs are dipping which is what we'd like to see for all our middle school students in ELA, English Language Arts. Next slide. You will notice there's a similar result in mathematics. We do have a slight dip overall, and then you can see our student groups where all the other dips are. Again, this is a trend that we want to see, but as Dr. Volkamer mentioned, there's still a lot of work to do, but we are moving in the right direction, as you can see. And a little bit later on in the presentation, you will see some very specific processes, systems, protocols, and activities that have contributed to the reduction in Ds and Fs. Next slide. So now Dr. Rodriguez is going to take you through some slides to speak to attendance.
So we know that it is a board priority that students go to school because we know that's where the learning happens. And so we've taken diligent efforts to have students come back to school. And so we wanted to give you an update on how we are doing. In our district, you can see that we aren't doing as well as we were doing last year. That is to be expected as we are unable to actually see students. Students are not coming to school physically. And so they do have many obstacles that they are encountering in their home environments. And so you will see across the board that we do have less students coming to school, but it is not that far off. Our biggest dip is at the high school level, where we're seeing a 4% decrease from last year in regards to their attendance. Next slide, please. As always, we know that the board is interested in looking at our specialized student groups, understanding that each group has their unique needs, and we are working to make sure that we are able to meet their needs. And as you can see by this, our attendance rate across the board consists of, we do see a dip in our attendance. Specifically to note, we know that we have a dip in our African-American student attendance, looking at a 5.1% drop, and then looking at our homeless youth at a 6% drop. And so these are populations that we are aware of and are continuously, diligently working to recover their attendance. Next slide, please. And then we were also asked to look at chronic absenteeism by level. And as you can see, we have showcased here district, elementary, middle, and high. We are missing our continuation school data because they are calculated at a different rate. They don't have the same schedule as our regular comprehensive high schools. And you will see there that we do have great numbers of students who are chronically absent. Overall in the district, we have increased our chronic absent students by 7%. And we have most note looking at our elementary school students as an increase of 9%. And so we do understand, and Mr. Tillman made note that there are different challenges from pandemic situations that we need to look at, and we are working on that as well. Next slide, please. And then as we look at chronic absenteeism across the board with our student groups, you will see that we have, which is to be expected, our homeless youth having increased numbers of chronic absenteeism, as well as we made note across the district looking at the attendance, our African-American students are also struggling with chronic absenteeism. A little later in the presentation, we'll discuss some of the safety nets and interventions that we've put into place to continue to work on bringing our most needy students to come back to school virtually. Next slide, please.
So board, we're going to present to you a couple of middle schools that have done a fantastic job in having systems and processes in place that have really fit into our 5 core principles of distance learning. I had shared this framework with you in the past, and we're really trying to make a very deliberate, concerted effort to help our site administrators and our staff understand what some effective practices are around distance learning. And our schools, all of our schools are just doing a fantastic job of ramping up systems that they already had in place and even creating new and more innovative systems to meet the needs of their students. They specifically are going to talk about some things that they've put in place to help with Ds and Fs. And as you saw, the slight dip in Ds and Fs is a good thing. But again, long-term, we're expecting to have greater gains for our students. Next slide, please. So as Dr. Rodriguez mentioned, we are also very aware that we have certain groups of students, we have certain content areas that we really need to focus on. And our schools have just done a fantastic job of implementing some safety nets that are really targeting student populations to help increase student achievement and to get kids in school as well. And we'll be showcasing some of those. Next slide. Next slide, please. So some of the safety nets around instruction that you will be seeing that will be highlighted revolve around data analysis. You're going to really see a really deliberate effort from our school sites. Very well done, very well planned data chats that teachers are having, and they're having them at the school level, the grade level, down to the individual student. And you'll be able to see some examples of that. And with those, with that data analysis, they're doing a great job of targeting students as well to meet their needs. They're being very creative about extended learning opportunities. And I'm really proud of the mindset shift that has occurred with our educators are really being flexible and helping our students to make up grades and giving them a little more time to do what they need to do. So you'll see some examples around that as well. Next slide. Other safety nets that they'll be showcasing, you're going to really be pleased to see what they've done around student incentives to really get our kids engaged, because we know that there are kids that we still have to re-engage, and just really keeping them motivated to do their work and to get involved with school. You're going to see how they effectively use apps that have been purchased and tech tools, and some of the names you see here, Pear Deck, Nearpod, Jamboard. Kids love interacting with these tools, and so our school sites are doing a good job of using all those. And then you're also going to see that our students miss each other and they like to get together. So the schools are providing opportunities for students to chat, to have celebrations together, and many other activities that they want to be involved in. Some of the additional support as well that you will see highlighted are how they're using their auxiliary personnel. They're really pulling out all the stops and using everybody on campus to really have an all hands on deck approach to meet the needs of our students. The urgency has been put out there, and our schools, all of our schools are doing a fantastic job at the call to action to do what we need to do. You'll see digital curriculum that they're using as well. There's been a lot of digital curriculum that's been purchased to support teachers, students, parents, and you'll see evidence of that. You'll hear one student in particular talk about tutoring and all the efforts that the school sites themselves are putting in around tutoring. And then also at the central office, we are also doing quite a bit with tutoring companies and providing extra support for our students. And one very interesting thing that I want to highlight is our schools have been very creative and just wonderful about reaching out to our parents. They are involving parents in everything, and even setting up incentives for the parents themselves to really help them to help their students. Next slide, please.
And we know that we need, in order to teach them, we have to reach them. I love that quote, right? And so we've really worked hard, and we're not satisfied with the effort. We continue to strive to get better at looking at how we can be more targeted in our approach. We've resumed home visits. We had to put a stop to them as the COVID rates were exorbitantly high, and we did not want to put our employees at risk, nor their families. And so we've resumed our home visits. We've also taken a very strategic approach around what schools are doing, what teachers are doing, and then what the school district is actually doing to support sites. And that's weaved into our district and site attendance plans. And just to give you an example of all hands on deck, we've utilized our rec aides to do those phone calls home to make sure that students are not there. So many schools within the first 15 minutes of class starting, they're taking attendance, and those students who are not there, they're actually getting a personal phone call to help remind the family that school's in session and we need them there. And so that personal connection is something that's vitally there, but we do know that we have some families that we're unable to reach. And so we're really excited that we're able to start back our in-person home visit. And as Mrs. Applegate mentioned, you will see the lengths that people are going to at our school sites to really just, it's trying whatever and seeing that hopefully it works. And we have schools who have put in place badge programs where if they're coming to school every day, they get a badge that they can show on their Google Meets so that they can celebrate their great attendance. As well with families, and really just trying to connect with them. And we know that the struggles are real for them. We know that families are doing their best. And so we work to do our best and do better by connecting our families and helping them to connect by doing more outreach, personal touches to actually engage our families. Next slide, please. And so before we get started, you know, as Mrs. Applegate mentioned, our schools, we know that we're not where we need to be, but it is a diligent effort. And we have lots of great things happening at our schools. We have schools who are sharing their best practices with other principals and other school sites. Our priority is attendance and parent engagement. And we hope that our efforts are not in vain. And we do have this collective impact of people working together, our teachers, our families, our unions, really working collaboratively, and community members as well, around how we can improve attendance and increase family engagement.
Okay, Dr. Rodriguez, and I know once we go into the video, it's going to kind of go into more detail. So let me pause and hear from Mr. Tillman and Ms. Rosales Medina.
Can we go back to the slide about the attendance, where it had the one for African Americans up like by some extraordinary number?
I think it was page 16.
Yeah, so it's obvious that the number for absenteeism for African Americans is way up. I hate to even ask this question because I kind of know what the answer is going to be. You know, even when Ray Culberson was there, the group of people that go out and work to reduce chronic absenteeism, what are their jobs called?
So we have student recovery specialists, and we also have attendance verifiers.
And how many of those are African American?
We have one specifically that is African American.
Out of how many?
Out of 3.
And that's everybody that's doing that's working to reduce chronic absenteeism?
No, sir. Those are just the student service, the student recovery specialists.
Because it's going to take more than one person to go out and reduce the numbers. And the problem we had in the past were we didn't have enough people that could work with the African American community. And my fear is if you don't look to hire people that understand the culture, understand the community, this number's not going to go down. And it's no different than sending out folks who are bilingual or EL community. There are certain cultural differences there and nuances that help them navigate that community. And if we're not looking at that, this number is going to get worse and worse. We can't gloss over this. This is a big deal. 38%, that's crazy. And I know if I look at certain sites, it's going to be even worse. And we have to hire people who can identify with the folks in these communities to make sure these folks are being serviced and finding ways to get them back online and back in school. But you got to tell me that I got somebody there that understands that the cultural part is a big deal. When I used to promote parties, I advertise on certain radio stations and put flyers out at churches and different places. If a person's not from that community, they don't even understand that. They don't know how to reach those people. So that's what my biggest fear is. And I know that's what the case is right now. And that's why the numbers are so bad. So maybe we can have like a subcommittee. I don't like doing subcommittees, but for something like this, we got to do something. This is just way off base.
So, Mr. Tillman, we have engaged the ETSA department with Dr. Will Greer to assist us in strategizing around how we can connect our African American students. We have home visits being conducted at school sites by school site personnels. And we also have our Loma Linda community health education workers. We have 4 that have been contracted with the district, and 2 of them are African American. Part of our issue right now is that we have not been able to do home visits for almost a month because of the COVID rates. And so we're hoping that as we are able to go back to homes and engage people face to face, we should see a change in these numbers. But you are absolutely correct, Mr. Tillman. We do need to be able to have people out there that reflect the community and understand the needs of our distinct populations.
Ms. Rosales Medina.
Just to piggyback on what Mr. Tillman was asking, are any of these groups overlapping? Like, for instance, Latinos or Hispanics that are also homeless, or those that are in foster youth, or all these non-duplicates within those areas? Just wondering.
No, they are not. They're not singletons. They are duplicates, because you can have, just like you mentioned, a student who is Latino and homeless and special education. So they can be identified double or triple.
Okay. All right. And then also with regards to even the homeless area, because I do agree, with African-American students, and just to, there was many years ago that I went on these walks, and it's all by, I guess when you hire individuals or when we're working with individuals, it's even the way you knock on the doors. I remember having someone literally start banging, but they were more in that, I don't want to say officer field, but the way they handled, and of course that even startled me a little bit. So I guess just making sure that those that are working in these fields are not necessarily individuals within the peace officers group or those type of entities, but more community-based individuals that have been working within various groups of community and so forth. So just making sure that we keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely, Mrs. Rosales Medina. We have people like Vicky Lee, like Talise, and I'll butcher her last name, so I won't even try, who have dedicated their lives to the service of homeless. And it's heartbreaking to see what they see. But as we're looking at these numbers, what it shows is that, and we already knew this, our homeless youth have difficulties with school and having a place to learn. And so as we start looking at how we can better serve populations in the future, we do need to look at how we can best serve our homeless youth, our African-American youth, all youth in general, but we do have some cries for help here with our numbers. And so we do need to do some innovative things. And our goal is that, as we're able to go out more into the community and people see us, our attendance verifiers, our homeless liaisons, our comforters out there, people know them, people listen to them, people, when they see them, they are beacons of hope in the community. People know them, but we just haven't been able to go out because of our COVID rates.
Right. And then with regards to the homeless, and you said that we are communicating with the families, even if it's by phone, making sure that they have the computer, they have access to Wi-Fi, because like you said, it is really difficult to make sure that they have that learning environment, even if it's at motel rooms, and making sure that we are providing those computers and the Wi-Fi or those devices that they need.
Absolutely. We just, and we'll share maybe at our next board meeting, we had our homeless liaisons go out and provide power inverters that are solar that we did purchase for that very reason, because we knew that they wouldn't have access to electricity on a regular basis. And so, we are trying what we can do, but the needs that certain populations have is far reaching, but we continue to try. And we know that people are doing the best that they can, but we are willing to try harder and do more because they're important. They're important to us.
Are you taking survey, or those that are answering the phone calls, or those that are reaching out to the parents and students? Are they doing an intake just to find out why they're not going to class? Why aren't they online? I'm wondering if we're doing some type of survey intake as we're speaking to them casually, of course, and then just asking briefly, you know, what are some of the issues you're finding? And then maybe we have something where we can at least start noticing there's more health reasons, there's more other reasons that we're not really taking into effect.
Absolutely. And with our chronic absent students, we actually are very targeted with the support. And we know that many of those families require more case management. We are doing referrals as we see our parents and families. If there is a health concern, you know, we're able to access our partner in Hazel Health to do a telephonic appointment with that family right then. We are able to take out computers to families as well as hotspots. We are asking, is there something that they need? We delivered desks to homes, and we are asking those questions. We do know that there are some families that continue to suffer through connectivity, and that's something that is beyond even our control when we have cell towers going down or even electricity going down. And we go through that, and we're trying to make allowances for those families. But yes, we are asking those questions, and we are doing everything that we possibly can, considering, again, the situation with the limitations on the home visits. But, you know, we're dropping them off. We even had somebody who had some concerns with connectivity, and we sent somebody out there to sit on their porch to help them to make sure that they didn't get kicked off. Now, that's not happening every day, but it's for those most severe cases that we have to do more. And again, we're willing to do that. We are doing everything that we can. Of course, we can do more, and we are being very creative in our efforts.
All right, thank you so much.
Dr. Flores?
Yes, I wanted to commend you, Dr. Rodriguez, that you are using our rec aids from our schools to help, you know, in terms of calling parents, because the parents do know the rec aids, right? And you're repurposing, I guess, the responsibilities. So like you said, all hands on deck. So, and it speaks to what Mr. Tillman was saying, that we need to have, you know, people that look like them, that know them, and can relate to them. And of course, that are trustworthy. And so I don't know to what extent you're all doing it, you know, at each site. But I do know that, you know, we do have African-American rec aids and Latino aids that can relate to our parents and so forth. And I also want to thank both of you for, you know, putting the data, the raw data, the total amount per demographic, as well as the raw number for the percentage, because that gives us an indication of just how many. Percentages usually hide things, but if you look at the African American, you know, students, where, you know, it's very high, 1,760. Then you go to the Hispanic, and it's 8,669. That's a lot of kids. Then if we look at English learners, it's 3,000, you know, 27. And what is SED? What does that acronym stand for?
Students with disabilities.
Okay, that's even higher.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it is not.
Socioeconomically disadvantaged.
Oh,
Thank you.
socially, economically, okay, disadvantaged. So, I mean, that's a lot of kids, total number. So the total number, did you take an average Is that why it's 11,340?
This is how the numbers are coming up. Remember, this does not include our students at the continuation schools. That number is not included in the total.
No, that's not my question. Is 11,340 the average of all the top numbers?
No, that should be a real number.
860.
Because if you add up all the numbers, it comes out to more than 11,340. Anyway, I think it's an average.
No, the 11,000, Dr. Flores, is the 34% of the district population. It's 34% of our district students.
Oh, of the district. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, it's 47. Okay, got it.
And
I was adding all of them. Okay. I said,
the reason if you add them all across, it wouldn't be 11,000 is that, remember, there are students that are in multiple categories. So
correct.
Okay. Hispanic students that are also socioeconomically disadvantaged that may be foster youth or homeless. So these are non-distinct numbers.
So they are in multiple categories. African American and Latino students are in multiple categories.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I think we need to think of out of the box. I don't have a solution, but I think at one time we were thinking of giving us incentives. I don't know if you remember, Harold, a long time ago, how we could give incentives for attendance. But I know times are bad, and there's added issues with connectivity and so forth, but also added issues of food and places, rents that are due and all of that. So anyway, I just thank you for your presentation and for the work that you're doing.
Ms. Ceballos?
Yes. I'm trying to see if I am interpreting this correctly. I'm looking side by side. I'm looking at the quarter 1 and semester 1 DF grades for middle schoolers.
Ms. Ceballos, we can barely hear you.
Oh no. Okay, hold on 1 second. Can you hear me better?
I can hear you. Do you need to go back? Is it a different slide that you're referring to?
No. I'll have this one up. I'm
okay.
Hearing side by side. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I have it pulled up on my end because I'm comparing that to what you have up here. And I'm looking both at quarter 1 and semester 1 for D's and F's for both English and math. And I'm looking at your English learner here, chronically absent, and that means that it's gone up, correct? From last semester to, from last year to this year.
Correct.
Okay. However, we're not comparing. So in the other presentations for D's and F's that you showed, this is not comparing, it's comparing semester versus quarter. I do see that your absence, hold on, let me, what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't look like there has been much improvement, although it's not so, it's a little over 20% for English learners of, being chronically absent this year. And I don't have the data. I wish the D's and F's of last year, I wish we were, we could compare apples to apples. It doesn't feel like we are with this. But also for SWD, that's students with disabilities.
No, it's the socioeconomically disadvantaged students.
No, she said the SWD.
SWD is students with disabilities.
Oh, that's what okay, never mind. That's what I thought it was to begin with. I'm confused.
But that was, the other one is SED that Dr. Flores was asking. She's asking about the SWD. Got it.
It doesn't seem like there is in the D's and F's, there is much difference between math. So if you want to move, because now I'm looking at it on my end, but if you want to move back to language arts and math, it doesn't look like there's any difference with special education or, you know, students with disabilities in mathematics. There's like no growth or no drop, 0.5. So I'm between last quarter and this semester. So I'm kind of, I guess what I'm asking is what are we doing specifically with students in special education to reach out to them as well? I do see that their increase here in absenteeism also is, you know, pretty significant jump. I see some decrease and some, you know, on every other category for all the other students. But when it comes to special education students, I really don't see that much of a decrease in their D's and F's. And so, you know, I just want to point that out because that's a concern, big one for me. So is there anything that we're, you know, particularly doing with that population to help them, you know, decrease the D's and F's that they're having? What are we actively doing with that specific population?
Ms. Ceballos, this is Dr. Monares. So you'll hear from 2 middle schools and what they're doing for all students. And then when we come back with the high school, we can ask our high schools to also share what they're doing specifically for the students with special needs. We did not make that request of our schools this time for this middle school. So I'm trying to remember in the video, don't believe there's something that's intentionally called out, but we can work with our high schools. You'll hear from some next time and ask them to share what they are doing for that specific group of students.
Also, I'd like to add, Mr. Bios, that as you know, our special ed students are graded according to their IEP goals. So their grades may not look as, you're not going to see huge spikes there with D's and F's because they're graded based on what their goals are on their IEP. So the grading is a little bit different with more flexibility with their grading.
So maybe there's, maybe this is not a good a good way to really analyze then that progress for them. So then maybe we need to have a different type of, data set for them specifically.
Yes, you are correct. We can be more specific with our special education group. This data was to compare the progress report grades to the first semester grades. So that's what we're doing. But of course, we can bring that information as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we can go ahead and key up the presentation video.
And just really quickly before we go into that, we do have our 2 school site leaders here with us.
Good evening, President Rogers, Vice President Wyatt.
I just wanted to say thank you because they've done a fantastic job and we're very proud of the work that they've done. But go ahead, cue it up. Thank you.
Okay.
Board. Good evening, President Rogers, Vice President Wyatt, Board, Cabinet, and community. It is my honor to be here this evening to share with you the intentional work that our school community at Serrano is focusing on as we support our champion students during these challenging times. My name is Erin Freeman, and I am the very proud principal of Serrano Middle School. On your screen, you can see the whys of what we do and Serrano's core beliefs. Our staff has worked hard over the past 5 years to adopt a data team cycle that allows students to be provided interventions and supports that meet their specific needs. During our time in distance learning, this model has become even more important to monitoring our students and helping them succeed no matter what. Tonight, we will share with you some examples of the 5 core principles of distance learning at work. Thank you.
My name is Trisha Kading, and I'm the math teacher on the 7th grade Tigers team at Serrano Middle School. Today, we're going to be showing our PowerPoint on how we're trying to increase student achievement this semester, and we're really focusing on D's and F's. First thing we did was collect data for the team, so grades by teacher. and then individual teacher by student and by class. The first trend was non-participants not showing up for class and not doing any asynchronous work. The first thing we did was home communication, seeing what we could do to help those students get to class and get started learning. We communicated with administration, the needs of the parents of the students that we could get in touch with. We had a supply drive for earbuds, composition books, pencils, hotspots, new iPads if needed. And then we asked the counselors to do home visits on students that we were not able to get a hold of. The next trend was ELL section had the highest levels of D's and F's. So we thought, what can we do for all ELL and all students to promote learning and growth mindset? We talked to administration to place Spanish-speaking avid tutors in as many of these sections as possible. We used tutors, student teachers, and co-teachers to help with breakout rooms, translate in chat, answer questions in chat. We created a tutoring section for Spanish speakers. We had the Spanish-speaking teacher on the team make the parent phone calls to the parents who spoke Spanish only. We used Remind through the district for parent communication in Spanish and English weekly. And we send out ARIES reports for missing assignments weekly with a comment section using Remind to make English and Spanish notes to the parents. In Remind, you can write a message out and then translate it. So I would copy the English and then I would translate it to Spanish, send out my Spanish message, and then repaste my English message and send it out. In ARIES, for my comments, sometimes I would just copy my Remind notes, or sometimes I'd make new ones in Remind and send out my comments in Spanish and English also. We have a parent communication log for positive and a supportive log. It includes emails, calls during class, texts, and messages. The whole team contributes by color group. We have targeted contests for grades and attendance. So we would have some kind of celebration after a certain amount of time if all students had just A, B's, and C's, or if everybody out for perfect attendance, or for 0 missing assignments, anything to make it interesting and fun. We use targeted tutorials for retesting, IXL help, makeup work, D's and F's to raise the grade, or C's to get to B's or A's. We have a Tiger Team Google Classroom where we push out celebrations for Student of the Week, birthday shout outs, important information, and contests. These are examples of our Student of the Week. We send out PDF awards via email and post to their Google Classroom. We focus on a growth mindset, constant promotion of the mindset that practice increases fluency and that mistakes make your brain grow. And when we identify mistakes, we learn from them. We engage students with tech. We try to use as many applications as possible. We use virtual celebrations, and we try to come up with unique ideas every time. We use SEL engaging assignments. We have SEL check-ins focused on positivity and engagement. We try to use in math engaging assignments like Notice and Wonders, Number Talks, Think Aloud's error analysis. And at the end of the week, we say what is working, what is not, how do we know, and what else can we do?
All right, we're here with Nico. Nico, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
So my name is Nicholas Perez. In 7th grade in Purple Tigers.
What advice would you give another student that's struggling to help them improve their grades?
Join some tutoring classes because I joined Miss Katie and Miss Romero, and then that really helped a lot because I had an F when I joined Miss Katie and I left with a C. And I don't know Miss Romero's, but hers helped my grades too.
Good morning, Sarah. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Sarah Olivas. I'm from Serrano Middle School.
All right, Sarah, so this morning we're going to talk a little bit about your grades, how you made some improvements, and definitely going to talk about the progress you've made since first semester. So at the beginning of the semester, you pretty much had straight Fs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of the semester, you made some great progress. And so I want to know, what are some things you did that helped bring your grades up?
I started going to class more. I started doing more of my work and paying attention to keep my attention span on the things that we needed to do.
So what other specific things did you change in your life or changes did you make to your daily routine that helped get your grades up?
I changed my sleeping schedule so that I could go to class earlier since I'd wake up earlier, so it'd be easier to pay attention with a better mindset that's fully rested.
Did it feel kind of impossible at first when you first saw your grades and saw how low they were? Did you feel like it was impossible, that you'd never be able to get them up?
Definitely. I thought that I was way too far behind to catch up with everyone else.
And how do you feel about that now?
I'm feeling better knowing that I could get close to everyone else in such a short span of time.
So were you able to get help from teachers and go to like tutoring and stuff like that as well?
Yes, I was able to do that. And I could say it helped a lot.
All right. Thank you very much, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Good evening, President Rogers, Vice President Wyatt, Board, Cabinet, and esteemed community members. It's an honor to be with you this evening to share some of the things my wonderful staff at Curtis Middle School are doing to support students during distance learning, especially around academics. For our Tier 1 support, we look at data, but we're working more and more to ensure that when we are looking at data, it's disaggregated, so we're clear about how our different student groups are doing. We also utilize our advisory period, where we focus on SEL, but also academic success. We want kids to understand things like what their GPA is and why it's important, how to set goals, how to turn in your assignments so that you get credit for them in Google Classroom. We also have a school-wide incentive system called Scholar. And with Scholar, students are able to attain different levels by getting credits. And they get credits based on different areas such as how well they do academically, with behavior, attendance, and extracurricular activities. We also do a Student of the Month that teams are able to nominate students for. We also have our teams who they do so much work to make sure that students are supported. So I'm going to turn it over to one of my teams right now to share a little bit with you about what they do.
Hi, we're the Jaguar team at Curtis Middle School. My name is Mrs. Nelson. I'm the Reading and Language Arts teacher for our 7th grade team.
Hello, my name is Ms. Lopez Osano. I am a product of the San Bernardino District, and I'm the World History teacher.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Hughes, and I'm the 7th grade Jaguar science teacher.
Hi, I'm Richard Tejada, and I'm the Jaguar math teacher.
And these are the team interventions for both students and parents, as well as incentives based on the specific needs of our students and parents for academics, attendance, and SEL needs. As far as what you are looking at right now, these are the following responses to intervention after we viewed DNF reports, as well as discussions within team meetings as for needs in order to help improve the success of Curtis Middle School students and parents. First, as a team, we decided to grade on a 4-point grading scale with Doug Reeves providing the actual scaling percentage guide. We also allowed until the end of the semester, and we'll do this as well for second semester, to turn in any missing work without penalties.
The next steps we followed were targeted team intervention for attendance, academic, SEL needs through discussion of DNF reports with students and parents. We also did an AREACH check every Monday, as well as work checklists to help students complete missing assignments.
We also take some days out of our schedule to go through tech troubleshooting so that students are better able to access all of the information in distance learning. And then we also have makeup work days scheduled into our lesson plans as well.
We provide consistent real-time feedback from teachers for our students, and we also provide positive personalized letters home encouraging attendance.
Okay, we also have some Jaguar team interventions for parents because we want to make sure that we are addressing all the needs of our stakeholders. The very first thing we provide is a Jaguar parent survey available to be filled out and addressed daily. They can choose to address the entire team, or they can send a inquiry to a specific teacher, and this also helps mitigate the issues that they might have with like creating email accounts. We have a Jaguar website with video tutorials on using technology, information, and events calendar and work due calendar. And we also send AREACH reports, they're emailed, mailed, and sometimes delivered in person with instructions for missing work and how to help their students succeed.
In addition, we were able to make phone calls for updates on grades or celebrations. We also were able to provide team meetings for any extra help they might need, and we were available to do tutoring during office hours on a daily basis.
We also have more our incentives for our students and parents. So for our students, some of our incentives include picking a student of the week and celebrating them for growth, for work, and everything that they've been doing in our classes so far. We also give monthly scholar awards as part of our school-wide program, but we pick students from our team to celebrate on a monthly basis with scholar points. And we also have Fun Friday get-togethers at the end of the month just to encourage students to participate, to come and join us, and just to keep the social atmosphere of school as much as we can.
Some of our other incentives for students are a weekly get-together on Thursday, so a fun Thursday for our students to come and just kind of hang out. All right, we do positive phone calls, emails, letters, and home visits for improvement in grades or behavior. And an incentive for parents is that we do a parent raffle every 2 weeks for parents that check their students' ARIES, so they check their grades as well as their attendance.
Other additional support that is unique to the Jaguar team. We've conducted 2 to 3 home visit check-ins a week to provide hard copies of work, attendance information, stress relief, so stress balls, fidget, coloring, as well as LGBTQ+ support.
We were able to create a social emotional learning environment through embedding self-care breaks in class, allowing late work to be turned in, and checking in with students every 2 months, along with sharing the data with the team, the counselors, and administrators.
We've also embedded makeup days into our lessons, provided class time to complete assignments, reviewed assignments in class, offer one-on-one support during office hours, including making appointments for one-on-one help for students. We provide extra credit opportunities, multiple chances to complete assignments, and create missing work checklists for students to keep track of what they need to do to keep up with distance learning.
I've also worked with students during office hours and after hours, as well as even during winter break to do some makeup assignments to bring those grades back up. If they're willing to come in and do the work, I'm not going to turn them away. And I regularly post assignments with links in the chat for students arriving late. That way, regardless of what time they show up into the class, they know exactly what we're working on, and they're more likely to complete the assignment.
So thank you very much for listening to our interventions for support. And should you ever have any questions or comments or wish to see some of our ancillary materials, all you need to do is contact Dr. Greer at Curtis Middle School. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Jaguars. And finally, for Tier 3, our most intensive level of support, we've been utilizing our program facilitators and our resident subs to provide additional support beyond what our teachers are doing every day in class. Mainly, we're targeting our African American Promise Scholars and our English Learner Promise Scholars, and the time that we've built into our schedule 3 days a week to provide additional support. We wanted our first contact home with the parents to be positive. And so initially our phone calls, emails, and visits were around positive communication and doing a needs assessment. We wanted to make sure we knew what parents needed and felt might help their students. After that, in building a relationship, we contacted parents again and set up meetings using Google Meets. And the first was initial meeting just to check in and let the parents and the students know what was going on. And then there were optional check-in meetings available afterwards for parents and students. What we found from that was that we had a lot of parents and students that really liked the increased contact. And so what we're doing for second semester is we're calling them re-engagement sessions. And so in the first meeting with parent and student, we talk about the purpose of the meetings. So why they are there. We schedule the Google Meet with both the parent and the student. During that time, we give parents an opportunity to share their thoughts and concerns. We talk about attendance. We talk about grades. We go over grades last year, the tutoring support that's available after school with our resident subs. We do goal setting and then progress monitoring in the form of continued check-in meetings, along with looking at their other data. And we think this is going to be a wonderful support for our students. So we're really excited about this. In fact, this Thursday, we're hosting a celebration for our African American Promise Scholars who made improvements in grades, attendance, and who've also have really good GPAs. And so we're excited to be able to share that with our students and our families this week. Thank you very much for your time.
Job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the away. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to fall, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before. I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me. Still in bed at 10 and work again at 8. Burned your breakfast so far, things are going. Great. Your mother warned you there'd be days like these. But you didn't tell you when the world was brought down to your knees. And I'll be there for you. When the rain starts to fall, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before. I'll be there for you. 'Cause you're there for me too. No one could ever know me. No one could ever see me. Seems you're the only one who knows what it's like to be me. Someone to face the day with, make it through all the rest with. Someone I always laugh with. Even at my worst, my best is you. Yeah.
And those are our fabulous educators having a great time. I'm sorry that the video lapsed a little bit, but I just wanted to take my hat off to both staffs and their leaders. It's just a fantastic example of all the hard work that they've embarked on. Obviously, this doesn't happen overnight, but they were well poised to implement some of the strategies and systems that we have in our core principles for distance learning. It was an easy pivot for them because they obviously had many things already in place. And you would see examples of this board from many of our schools in the district. I just am very proud. They're doing a fantastic job pulling out all the stops and doing what they need to do for our students and their families. And then I also, Mr. Tillman, just to let you know that I am working with Dr. Greer. We are enlisting our community partners. We have many partners with COPE, Blue, ICUC, many that Dr. Greer is working with them to repurpose some of what they're doing. They're still doing quite a bit of the tutoring, but we're also enlisting them and helping us with family outreach. So we are working with our partners that are well known in the community to also help recuperate and re-engage some of our students as well.
When did we start doing that?
We just started probably 2 months ago. We started reaching out to them and asking them to help us with family re-engagement.
Thank you.
So next slide.
Madam President, do we get to ask or make comments, or do we have to wait?
Oh.
Oops.
You're muted.
I'm sorry, I was saying they had a next step slide, and then after that, I was gonna go to the chat.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so board, you've seen that there are so many concerted efforts and very targeted efforts around our steps in distance learning that we've taken to this point, but we know that we still have a ways to go, and we are completely committed to doing whatever we need to do. We are going to start exploring some more innovative and creative ways of reaching our students. So we are going to be developing the Accelerated Student Achievement Plan, or ASAP, as it's better known, because we want to really send that message that there is an urgency around what we need to do with our students. That plan is going to be interdivisional, involving all of our stakeholders, and we're going to address areas such as attendance. We mentioned some of the things that are being done, but we know that there are many others that can be done as well. So we'll be looking for innovative ways to help with re-engaging our students. There will be strategies around teaching and learning, student engagement, progress monitoring and assessment. We know that right now we don't have the assessments that we had from the state, so we are pivoting and doing some other things to monitor the progress of our students. But as you saw from both sides, they're really keeping their finger on the pulse of how their students are doing. We're going to be exploring extended learning opportunities with a huge push on summer school, possibly Saturday, whatever it takes. We're going to be bringing you information at our high school presentation at the next board meeting around legislation AB 104 and other legislation, AB 2121, all those different legislation packets that target specific students, and how we can be flexible with graduation requirements and whatever else we need to do in order to help our students graduate. We will also be attending to family engagement and really reaching out to our families in very creative ways, as you saw, even with the incentives for our parents as well. And then again, working with our stakeholders and our partners and enlisting them to help us with this work, because it really is all of us put together, and we have some fantastic partners that we know that can really help us out. So this plan, we are embarking now on working on that through the 3 different divisions that will be working on our ASAP plan. And I believe that's it.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, I have Ms. Rosales Medina, followed by Dr. Flores.
I just wanted to say, I love that presentation from Curtis Middle School. There's a lot of points that they mentioned that just make sense on how we can help our students succeed, going from those D's and F's and to excelling in the classroom. They did mention the 4.0 grading system. Is there a way for you to kind of express the difference between the 4.0 versus the percentage points? Because I know that that's one of my complaints when we were looking at the grading policy, is that the percentage points, when it goes from 0 to 100%, the disparities even between F, that's from 0 to 59% is large. And I think anyways, maybe I'm already explaining, but for those, it's a tad, I think the 4.0 it's a lot better in trying to reduce those Ds and Fs. But if someone can explain it better, that way those that are in the audience or even those board members that this is new for them, what this really means.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Rosales Medina. And that stems from the work that Serrano Middle School has done a lot of work with Doug Reeves around changing our grading system, basically. And so now we're taking it to scale with more of the district sites. Teachers are coming voluntarily and they're learning more about more flexibility in grading. We do have Ms. Freeman here, who is the principal of Serrano Middle School, who has implemented the grading scale. So Ms. Freeman, please feel free to answer.
Good evening, Madam President Rogers, VP Wyatt, board, cabinet, and community members. So the 4.0 scale is about standards. It's about mastery of the standards versus kind of our older concept of the A's and B's. And some of the things that go along with the 4.0 scale is the ability for students to continue to retake assessments. So it goes back to that data cycle. We want students to master the content. And so thus we look at our data. What have they mastered? What have they not mastered? What do we need to reteach? What do we need to not reteach because they already have it? I think actually in this distance learning format, that's probably one of the most significant aspects, is that we become very fine-tuned about what assessments we're giving, how often we give them, and only reteaching what needs to be retaught. And so that's what the 4.0 scale allows us to do. And it allows students to take that stigma away of what you were talking about, Ms. Medina, in regards to the 100-point scale, and go back to the points of mastery. Do you have the information? The input or the emphasis is put on the standards and whether or not and what you have mastered. And then students are allowed to own their learning by measuring their own learning against rubrics and other different devices in order to show progress and know what they are and aren't learning.
Right, no, thank you. Yes, no, and is that transferable to the Aries portal? I know that's something that, is that easily implemented in Aries portal? Is that something we have to look at? Another point is, can we look at how we're doing this across the board for all middle schools as well?
Yes, ma'am. So that has been one of the points Dr. Reeves will tell you all the time. You make the systems work for you. You don't make your teaching work into the system. And so one of the things that Serrano teachers did was come up with a 4-point scale, and it's kind of a beautiful document. It actually equates all of the different mastery of the standards that goes from the 4.0 and how you input those points into Aries in order for it to make that smooth transition, as well as the document that we use also explains how it does equate to the A, B's, and C systems, because we still do need to be able to communicate that effectively to our parents.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that presentation piece. I mean, it's something that many of us board members have been really trying to address in order to reduce the D's and F's, is really truly looking at the grading system and how we can make it improve and to support our students here. So thank you so much for setting that example. I'm hoping we could set this across the board at other school sites.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And Dr. Flores?
I want to profusely thank you both, Ms. Freeman and Dr. Greer, for your leadership and support of your teaching staff and our students and our parents. You know, I retired as a teacher educator, and what I saw and observed just in the few minutes that you presented was outstanding leadership, true caring, commitment, dedication, professionalism among a collaborative teamwork with a focus always on the students and also the parents through authentic caring and communication. And I had put on here, you created structures and routines and processes of teaching, learning, and assessment. And you called it a system. It's more than a system. I know you call it a system, but it is truly, truly, you know, a way of teaching and learning and keeping the focus on our kids and communicating with our parents. And actually, you guys communicate with each other. So it's very commendable. And I just loved your explanation right now about how you all got together and transformed the grading system and made it work for you. And like Miss Medina said, you know, it's truly, how do I say, it makes my heart so warm to see the teachers also having fun. It was incredible that kids get to see their teachers, you know, being weird, which is good, but having fun. And it shows that, you know, you're human. And the Jaguar team, man, you guys rock. I'm sure there's lots of them, other teams. And then your tier 3 with AAPS and ELPS. That is so innovative. I just commend you for that. And I think Miss Applegate, they are truly, you know, examples. You say there's many other schools that are doing this, but wouldn't it be something if we could get all our schools, not the same thing, but their own manifestation, their own creation that works for them? I think that would be truly an incredible feat for us. And I just commend you all. You made my heart so warm, and it's so beautiful to see how committed you all are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Flores. And I knew Dr. White and I felt that when you all saw this presentation, and we had to get through actually the unfortunate, ugly side of things that we know we didn't have control over. COVID has come in and just done damage in a lot of ways, but our district have prevailed. And just to see that brings back that hopefulness we talk about. And before I go on, Dr. Hill, I know you wanted to reserve your comments for public comments, but one of the reasons why I will call upon you, if you don't mind, because I know that Ms. Freeman and Dr. Greer, Dr. Greer has endured with us tonight, and they're both on, and they're probably going to go off. So you might want to comment to them. We thank you guys, because you guys are leading this, and you're here tonight to show an example. And I know in my screen, I was looking over to see the singing Dr. Greer. She is on the line. So Dr. Hill, did you want to comment now?
Sure, I will. Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say to the administrators and the teachers, you are just absolutely awesome. The job's not easy, but you're hanging in there, you're making it fun. You may not have all the students there, but look at the difference you're making to the ones who are there. And that can be so encouraging. Others would show up. I commend you for what you're doing. It's not easy. You know, I've been out there with you, and I know it's not easy. But the one thing that I heard in one of the songs that I hope you use often is, I'll be there for you. And I think the more students hear that instead of, why weren't you at school, is I'll be there for you. And that's going to make a big difference with many of these kids. Because you know, when I did an accreditation, it was the students who say, we don't go to school to learn English and math. We go to school for our teachers. And we know they're proud of us when we do learn English and math. So that they do not have that connection right now. And but just hang in there and just continue to let them know that you'll be there for them. So thank you, Ms. Freeman. And thank you, Dr. Greer. Keep up the good work. You're not the only two. You're not the only two. I know there are a lot of administrators out there and teachers who are doing an excellent job. So to all of our people who are keepers of our students, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Can I add to that, Dr. Hill?
Is that Dr. Greer? Yes. I hear a voice, but I don't see a picture. There you are. Yes.
I just want to shout out, we had our African American Promise Scholar event last Thursday, and we had a parent who spoke up and just really was thankful to be there, but she was also thankful to our district. She said SBCUSD has really done a great job supporting our kids and families, and I shared that with Ms. Applegate and Dr. Volkemer last week. And so I know you guys know it doesn't have to be said, but we have staff that are doing a tremendous amount of work. We know our numbers, we know our data, we look at it all the time, and we're constantly problem solving around how to better improve outcomes for students. But one thing that I keep reminding my staff of, because I know how hard they are on themselves as well, My priority is that we all come out of this alive and safe and healthy. And so that constant reminder to them as they're doing this work as well, to make sure I'm there to support them and that they engage in self-care, because I need them to be there for students. And not just our certificated staff, our classified staff has done a phenomenal job as well of supporting. They're, calling up parents, and they're just creating areas, parent portal accounts for them, because we know there's language barriers sometimes and other things. And so I have a fabulous staff, and they are constantly coming up with ideas and ways to support. And bring me a plan, make it easy for me to say yes. And they constantly do that. And so I'm just grateful to be the principal at Curtis Middle School and to be able to serve. And I'm also grateful to just be part of a wonderful cohort of administrators. We frequently talk and trade ideas. And so it's a wonderful peer group. And so I'm definitely glad to be here, and thank you for having us here tonight.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
You all, wonderful job. Provides us the hope that we need to continue to move forward, knowing that we can support you all to be better. And as I say, we will come out of this better. I know we will. And you guys just showed us a glimpse of that. And we just applaud you for your efforts. So please tell your team kudos. And we look forward to more of this wonderful work. Thank you. And we know you have to log on early in the morning, so you're probably going to log out here. All right, thank you. Board, we're now going to move to 9.0, reports and comments, 9.1, beginning with the board members. And if board members, you are going to make comments, please put it in the chat so I know if you desire to make comments. Okay, we will begin with, whoa, it went, it's moving fast. Okay, I think okay, let it stop because it's moving so quickly. Okay, so Dr. Wyatt, it looks like you are first up there.
All right, I'm rarely first, so I must have a lot to say.
You are.
Well, first of all, just outstanding presentation, and thank you to everyone that put that together. And I enjoyed it even more the second time, Madam President. And but yeah, our district's doing a tremendous amount of work for our kids and our community, and making sure that we're getting kids to school. So, and they're getting their work done as well. So great job. A couple things to celebrate, as we already know, and we've said many times, I'm sure all of us will say it, as well as Dr. Volkmer, but just fantastic job to our Cajon mock trial team. Made our city proud, our community proud, made all of us proud. Outstanding job. And I know a number of us were there and got to watch the semifinals and the finals, and just, I want to applaud all the schools and all the students that were there, because they were just fantastic. I mean, wow, when you watch those kids do that contest, it's unbelievable. They're like lawyers in action already. So just so proud of them. Great job to Youth Services and Dr. Bikendova and the Purdue film. I'm sure many of you watched that as well. And just a great story and testimony to our kids and their resiliency and what they do. So again, great job there. Again, I think it was last night, at CSBA, we get to celebrate again our wellness program and them getting the Golden Bell. So a great job again there. And I know we've said that a few times, but wow, I know that's a huge priority to a number of us here on the board. And we just want to see that continue to grow and expand throughout the district. But that is those. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I probably did. And but maybe I'll circle back. Just kidding. That's a little joke, but anyway, thank you to everyone. Great seeing y'all and getting excited. Oh, I know what it was. I do have a question though for the executive cabinet and Dr. Volkmer, and I don't know if right now is the time. Maybe we'll cover it at the next meeting. But if we'll be able to come back to practice in sports, I know that's been a concern from some of the parents out there, as well as our students and our coaches. And I'm just hopeful that that they'll have the opportunity, if it's safe to do so, to come back and compete against other schools that are out there in our same league, in our same area, that are getting ready to compete and are practicing right now. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wyatt. And next up is Ms. Rosales Medina.
Yes, so this week I actually had a meeting with ICUC Youth, and one of the things that sparked a conversation was regarding mental health and some of the issues that our students are really struggling with. And this is across the board, from different walks of life, that are actually struggling with mental health issues. and a lot of emotional needs that they need, especially now with COVID. So I just recently came across an article, and I'll go ahead and share it in the link.
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Ms. Rosales Medina, can you hit the mute button?
Okay, there you go. So in the CDC report, compared to the 2019, and I shared the link so you could see it there, mental health related visits for children ages, and this is the emergency room, 5 to 11 years old, has increased approximately 24%. And this is from January 1st through October 17. And so as you'll see in the graphs, it actually shows that during the pandemic, the emergency room visits, and the more we were in it, the amount of students who were having a lot of mental health issues, as well as 12 to 17-year-olds, increased by 31%. And so the reason why I'm mentioning this is that I know it's really hard to go in person. We have counselors in our campuses, but I'm wondering if we can do something virtually for our students that may need support. And even if it's just to talk about their day, or if they're, there's just something small, but to them it's big, and they're able to communicate. I know we have currently contracts with a few organizations that help out with mental health, and I'm wondering if we can try to connect with them and really looking at across the board throughout the whole district for students that they're able to attend maybe these 30-minute sessions just to get that extra morale support, because a lot of students don't have healthcare, and this would be a great avenue to increase student achievement, increase the amount of students attending classes, as well as reducing the D's and F's. So I really do believe this would be a great support, knowing the fact that CDC has shown that there has been a large increase within emergency visits to regarding mental health issues. And so basically that's my concern and what I want to share.
Thank you. And next up is Mr. Tillman.
Yes, and thank you to staff for all the presentations. I know we have concerns, but I do appreciate the transparency. We can't deal with the problems if we don't know the problem exists. And so for me, the bigger problem would be if we didn't realize we had a problem, right? So I do thank you all for that, and I appreciate the presentations. Look forward to working with everybody to solve some of these problems. Congratulations to Cajon High School on the mock trial. It is a big deal. I was here for many, many years. We never placed at all. So we made the investment, right, Dr. Volkemer, and it's paying off. So thank you to all the folks that, teachers and parents and students who helped make that a success. I know Dr. Wyatt mentioned sports. I think it'd be good for us just to clear the air and talk about, Dr. Volkemer, at some point where we're at exactly with CIF. I know I got an email from a parent today talking about cross-country events. And I mean, cross-country running may be something that we agree is doable. I don't know, but maybe we can agendize it for the next meeting just so we have some clarity on where we're at with that. I think that'll help a lot of people. And then, not losing sight of how bad things are. I mean, I looked at the county's website, and just today they posted 61 deaths from COVID-19. So, I continue to tell everyone that the virus is real, and that's what's driving everything that we do, right? The biggest problem we have right now is supply of the vaccine. I was in an all-staff meeting with the public health director, and asked at what point would our staff be able to get the vaccine. And he said, he didn't know because there's actually a supply shortage right now. So, and then I asked about teachers, and some of the thought is that you won't get past the 65 and older for a few months, which would, in California, the teachers are in the next group, I believe. They're not vaccinating teachers right now, right, Dr. Volkemer?
Not yet in San Bernardino County.
Right. And then I actually just had a conversation with Superintendent Alejandro for County Superintendent of Schools, and he was saying the number of vaccines they've been that they have been the proposed amount they're going to get is not even half of what they would need for the first vaccine for all the educators in the county. So we're a long way off. And I listen to as much information as possible about the variants, but to say on the one hand that to give a vaccine and get vaccinated is important for your safety, but on the other hand, say teachers should come back and work without the vaccine, I don't know how people reconcile that. We're real close right now, and I think we've said it before that hopefully our district will prepare to open up in near normal status in the upcoming school year because of the vaccines will be available. That's what my hope is. There's no guarantee, but maybe we can talk about that too in terms of what the planning is. And if everyone was vaccinated, because they're even talking about now proposing a vaccination for children throughout the summer. So if it was possible for everybody to be vaccinated, is the plan to come back with full capacity? Has any discussion been made on that, Dr. Volkmer?
We're having deep discussions on that very issue, Mr. Tillman. We can bring back a report to you probably in the beginning of March in terms of some proposals and what we're thinking in terms of the summer and the beginning of next year.
I think that'll be beneficial to everybody. And when I got a call from a person today and said, what are you guys gonna do about football? You ought to just tell us what you're gonna do. It's day to day. No one around us is playing football, not because we're mean and don't like sports, don't realize the positive role that sports play in our students' lives. We're weighing the circumstances, and we're not in control of that. Like I told a person on the phone, there's no one playing football around us because the whole state has been deemed, has decided that we're not at a point where we think we can do it. And, I thought we're out the woods, and then somebody said we're going to have the analogy was a hurricane, a 5-rated hurricane in COVID increase because of the new variants, and we're not going to get vaccinated fast enough. So I don't say that to be make everybody feel sad. It's just the reality that we're dealing with, and it's complex, and no one has all the answers. So I just appreciate us all working together, still trying to give students the best education possible, and for all the staff that are going over and above to make it happen, and not losing sight of the sickness and death that is all around us. I think the worst thing we do in all of this is talk about statistics. And somebody will say only 0.001%, but when you multiply that by 50,000 people, then you're talking about 50 people dead. So, the numbers sound small, but when you talk about it in terms of real people, then it's not a small thing, it's a big deal. So just with that, I just hope we keep looking out for each other, keep being safe, and keep doing the best that we can. Thank you very much.
Ms. Ceballos?
Yeah, so I'll make this brief. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that presented today and everybody that stuck, with us through this meeting. I know it's been quite long. I also wanted to take the opportunity to thank the cabinet members. I have not had a chance to do that. I'm fairly new and adapting and learning, and everything's, so much information to just grasp and get a hold of. And I'm doing the best that I can. But I need to say, thank you to, Ms. Christakos and Ms. Ontiveros, Mr. Fenches, Ms. Menares, Dr. Menares, Ms. Rodriguez, Dr. Rodriguez, and, so forth. Every single one of you, Dr. Volkamore, thank you so much, for Karen, thank you. Yeah, everybody, because you guys have made this very smooth for me. And, I know I bombard every one of you with questions, but it's because I'm trying to catch on and learn. So thank you so much for your patience, and thank you everybody out there.
You're on mute, President Rogers.
I'm sorry. I said Dr. Hill, and I was like, why isn't she moving?
I was waiting to hear from you, Madam President. I want to start out by saying to Cabinet, thank you. Great presentation on the academic achievement this evening. No, it's not where we want it to be, but we know you're working on it, and that's what we asked for you to do, and you're certainly doing your best, and we appreciate that. I did attend the San Bernardino County budget meeting through San Bernardino County Schools. That was really interesting. I also attended the Inland Empire African American Parent Engagement workshop that was sponsored by Cal State San Bernardino. The next day, I was at the San Bernardino County Wellness Summit, and that was just absolutely awesome with some great speakers. And I know Dr. Wyatt mentioned, but last night it was the County School Board annual meeting, and as always, County School done a great job. But I just want to leave you with one little story here that hopefully will give you an idea of what's happening with our kids. And you know, they don't all fall out the desk at the same time. And I might have shared this story with you. If I did, I apologize. About 6-7 months ago, maybe a year, because it was an in-person visit, this lady came up to me and said, I'm sure you don't remember me, but you had my son at San Andreas. And I asked her his name, and she gave me, and I said, oh my gosh, he was a rough one. He made me earn every dime I had. And she laughed. She said, yes, I know he did. She said he was a rough and a toughie. And I said, well, how is he doing now? She said, he's doing quite well. So then I asked, what is he doing? And she said, oh, he's a physician over at Kaizen Fontana. So I know people get sometimes frustrated when everything's not in place, but this is the new normal. There is no old normal. And even during the old normal, it wasn't the greatest normal that was around. But I think one of the things we need to share with our parents, to share with our students, our staff members, and everybody else, even our community partners, we got to be patient, and we got to know that it's going to get better, because I know it will, and you know it will. But the most important thing, we need to let our kids know that we need them, we want them, they can be successful. It's okay that they haven't been in school X number of days. But if you can get them in school tomorrow, it'll be worth every effort that we put forth. So I just want to say again to everybody, you're doing an amazing job. I'm speaking with administrators, teachers, and different ones all the time. And I'm just hearing some really good things. There are so many good things out there. I'm not hearing any principal complain, because they spend that energy talking about the good things. And that's what we should do. In 2021, let's continue to focus on the good. Let's continue focusing on what our kids, where they are now. And let's take them from there. And even though you haven't seen them all year, smile. And no, we don't want anyone knocking on doors, because we don't want anyone contacting the virus. But we certainly want to get our kids back. And the day we get them back is the day that we can say, I've accomplished something else. And we just need to understand they're very capable, but until we walk in their shoes, they're out there for many reasons. And I think it's, so sad when I heard a couple of days ago about the young man from senior from Pacific High School who was killed. And the first thing I said when I found out it happened during the day was, why wasn't he in school? But the other thing I said, I'm not walking his shoes. There might be a reason he was where he was. So I just want to say, let's not make judgment but let's help them all because they all need help. We don't know where they are, but we need to get them to the next step. So thank you, and thanks to the staff.
Thank you, Dr. Hill. Dr. Flores?
I couldn't unmute me. It just unmuted me. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Dr. Hill, for those very profound wisdom, and for us not to lose sight on kids, all our kids, and to thank our teachers and our administrators and our classified. I remember when I started teaching high school, I remember I said to the principal, just give me the kids that nobody else wants to teach, because I will teach them. And so that's who I taught. And I saw 187 kids a day. And I wanted to be a teacher. I knew when I was 6 years old, and that I was placed on this earth to be a teacher and to be here for kids. And so, and then I became a teacher of teachers. So I'm here for teachers too, and for all of us. And I would like to start out today, not to celebrate my mother's 98th birthday. My mother turned 98 today, and she has incredible genes, incredible woman, incredible survivor. And her name is Carmen Lopez Flores. And so, feliz cumpleaños, mamá. And anyway, and I'd also like to honor Black History Month. I believe that it should be Black history every day, Latino history every day, everybody's history every day. But I do believe that our focus, so that we do highlight Black history. And I am a student, I am a reader, I'm a prolific reader. And my husband started reading this book and finished it. Oh, it's reversed. I don't know how we can, it's called Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. I highly recommend that you buy this and read it. It is a profound book. I barely just started on chapter 2, and I can't get past chapter 2 because I keep reading these 2 pages over and over. That's how great of a thinker and writer Isabel Wilkerson is. And then we just got this book today. Dr. Ibram Kendi and Keisha Blaine, Dr. Ibram Kendi and Dr. Keisha Blaine just edited this book called 400 Souls. 90 African-American scholars, poets, writers, have written a community history of African Americans from 1619 to 2019. It's called 400 Souls. So that's our work. We also have to learn, I believe, as adults. And I too want to congratulate Cajon's mock trial team for winning the championship. Dr. Volkemer, I don't know if you can send them a letter from us, or Madam President from the board, or if you did already, but I would like us to do that. Is that possible?
Certainly.
Okay. Okay, great. I only have 2 more statements. I was really inspired by the presentation by both of our middle schools. It gives me a lot of hope, and our kids and parents hope. And it just reminds me that we need to expand our outreach to our parents through our site liaisons and administrators, just like they're doing. Parents are so important in terms of supporting our kids' welfare, our well-being, and their achievement, as noted and as evidenced by what they presented. And I just like to publicly, I already said it in closed session, but I'd like to publicly ask again that Dr. Volkemer, we post our superintendent search schedule online so that our community and parents and our staff know what we're doing. So thank you very much. And it's so nice to see everybody. And thank you, Cabinet, for all that you do, for your leadership, for your hard work. And I truly appreciate you. And also my board members, I really appreciate you. And of course, I love everybody. So good night.
Not yet.
Oh yeah, not yet, but you know.
Not yet. Maybe 11 o'clock or maybe 11 o'clock.
Okay.
But again, good evening, everyone. And this is a time when we definitely have an opportunity just to, again, thank everyone for what they're doing. And certainly you guys know every chance I get, I'm either going to text you or call you, you know, because you guys are working all the time. And I appreciate everything that this district is doing. And that is why, you know, we're still out there. We're still making virtual rounds. I guess that's what you'll call them. Dr. Hill mentioned some, and Dr. Wyatt, and kudos, same thing. We were doubling up on some of those meetings. And one that they didn't get to was the Dads Club over at Wilson. I was able to pop in on that one, and that was good. Very, you know, our dads are very important to the success of our students as well. And sometimes they don't get, you know, they don't get the kudos that they should. So we appreciate our dads, and we're thankful that Wilson is over there doing that work. But to everything else, you know, we are pressing forward. And as I said, we're going to get through it. We're going to be better when we come out on the other side. We are really doing things that others have not that they don't want to do it, they just have not been able to get there yet. But because of the team and working together on behalf of our students, we've been able to press forward so we can see that there's light on the other side of the tunnel. So again, thank you for all of that hard work. I do want to say happy Black History Month. And I agree that, you know, sometimes I'm challenged with just saying one thing, like it's not, shouldn't be forever. I'm like that with Thanksgiving and all these other things. You know, we celebrate those days, but these are things, principles that we should constantly be doing, and therefore the world will be a better place. So we are now going to move forward in our agenda with our superintendent and staff comments, 9.2.
Thank you, President Rogers. Just a few updates, board. Just wanted to let you know that we had the first in a series of LCAP meetings, community meetings last week. We basically spent time kind of bringing them back up to speed, transitioning them back to the regular LCAP cycle from the learning continuity and attendance plan cycle that we were temporarily on during COVID. And so we're off to a good start. We'll have a meeting, and we want the public to know that we're gonna have a meeting every month up until June when you approve our LCAP plan. And we really, really want their voices and their fingerprints all over our plan, because that's really what it's supposed to be about. And so we actually met with a couple of different groups, our union leaders and our community advisory council that looks over our special education programs, and asked them for more ideas on how to better engage our parents and get them to those meetings. So we're looking forward to great success there. As you heard a little bit earlier, we are going to have a town hall meeting on February 9th, all centered around vaccination and just making sure that our community has the opportunity to come and get good information. Then it's a personal decision whether they want to get vaccinated or not, but we want to make sure we get the information into their hands. So that'll be February 9th, next Tuesday from 6 to 8 p.m. And then excited to let you know that we're having a virtual career fair in the area of manufacturing tomorrow for students that are interested in careers in manufacturing. You know, typically in a virtual environment, you wouldn't think you could have a career fair, but our team has put together a really great event tomorrow for a virtual career fair in manufacturing. I just want to give some shout outs. First of all, to parent Mia Cooper. I think many of you know, if not all of you know Mia. Mia is on, by the way, I think almost every advisory council we have. I know she's on our district advisory council. She's an officer, by the way, on all of them, on our district advisory council, on our district African American advisory council, and I believe on our Community Advisory Council for Special Education as well. Well, we so appreciate her, and apparently the word got out. She has been elected as a member of the California Practitioners Advisory Group. CPAG is the State Board of Education's California, provides input regarding local, state, and federal accountability, and also serves as the Title I Committee of Practitioners. So let's give Mia Cooper a big shout out for representing the district so well as just an outstanding parent. You heard again that our Golden Bell Award for Student Wellness and Support Services programs was again highlighted at the San Bernardino County School Boards Association last night. Great event. Happy to celebrate that one more time with our team. Then we want to give a shout out to North Verdamont Elementary School and Richardson Prep High. And I'm going to read this because this is what came with the recognition. After an extensive analysis of student data for every public school in California, Educational Results Partnership, or ERP, recognized North Verdamont Elementary School and Richardson Prep High as clear student achievement leaders for their work in getting students to grade level and beyond. Schools were named to the 2019-20 Honor Roll, which recognizes public elementary, middle, and high schools that demonstrate high levels of student academic achievement, improvement in achievement over time, and reduction in achievement gaps. So we want to say congratulations to Principals Kimberly Robel and Jenny Page and their staffs on this outstanding recognition and accomplishment. Let's give them a round of applause. And then finally, as has already been said, we want to recognize Cajon High School again for the mock trial win. But board, I want to recognize you and the part you play in that. On the heels of a very, very successful athletic strategic plan in which you pumped tons of resources into, you said we need to do something about our academic teams. And so we've been able to take LCAP funds and put them toward our academic teams. And you've seen, as they always do, our teams rise to the occasion, and our mock trial team now two-time county mock trial champions. So congratulations to Principal Tina Bishop, Coach Robert Grande, and the terrific kids at Cajon High School for bringing this distinction to our district again. I want to emphasize again. Excuse me. And then finally, I want to close with a quote. I absolutely love quotes. And if you didn't know, last week was the Great Kindness Challenge throughout California, and a number of us on cabinet did individual videos for a teacher over at Barton who was really putting this on steroids for her classroom. And I want to end with a quote that I heard just this evening, and it's from our KID president that we heard from earlier during Dr. Wyatt's inspirational message. And when he said this, I just got this vision, this complete vision. And the quote is, throw kindness around like confetti. And I just saw this rainstorm of confetti of kindness coming down on everyone. So let's all remember to throw kindness around like confetti, according to our KID president. Thank you. Those are my comments for this evening.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Volkermer. All right, we're moving now to 10.0, our consent calendar. Board, are you aware?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Yeah, I think that was a move in a second, I think. All right, so I have a motion and a second. And so is there anything that we will be pulling here? Okay, going once, going twice. I guess I'll call for the vote. Mr. Tillman.
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos.
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt.
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina.
Aye.
Dr. Hill.
Aye.
Dr. Flores.
Aye.
And Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you. We are now moving to 11.1, Personnel Report number 12, dated February 2nd, 2021.
As presented. So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. If there is no discussion, we'll take the vote. Mr. Tillman.
Aye.
Ms. Ceballos.
Aye.
Dr. Wyatt.
Aye.
Ms. Rosales Medina.
Aye.
Dr. Hill.
Aye.
Dr. Flores.
Aye.
Gwen Rogers, aye. Motion carried. Thank you. All right, now we are at 12.0, correct? And 12.1 review of requests, and I believe Mrs. Ontiveros is somewhere in the screen.
I am here, yes. Thank you, President Rogers. So I did capture quite a few questions, but several of them were answered. So I'm hopeful that as we go through that, you'll agree and we can check those off the list right away. But the first questions came from Ms. Myra Ceballos, who asked first if we could request more information on the total enrollment of students at Savant, including the number of students from outside the district and the demographic information for their student population. She also asked if all charter schools are monitored the same way, and that Savant is monitored, and asked for what our goals are for charter schools. Then Dr. Flores asked what the timeline is for the board to approve the charter school renewals. Ms. Hopwood answered that we'd have 90 days and that in this particular case, the deadline would be March 2nd. Dr. Flores then asked for a copy of the staff report well in advance of the March 2nd meeting. Dr. Flores followed up with a request for the cabinet to follow up with the staff and parents to get clarification about their concerns, the concerns that they have about the location of Savant at Del Vallejo. And Dr. Hill also echoed that, asking that we speak with the Del Vallejo staff to see if they have enough space for their program. Dr. Flores also asked if we could check with the attorneys about requirements to accommodate Savant's growth, to provide details about growth projections for the school, and to consider whether the site can handle these projections. The next question came from Mr. Tillman. He asked he was asking questions about the ethnicities of our attendance verifiers and student recovery specialists, primarily to ensure that we could connect with the communities that we're trying to reach. And Dr. Rodriguez answered that we're working with ETSA, and the school sites are starting to do home visits, and our CHUs are doing that as well. But we all agreed that we need to make sure that we have people who can connect and understand our families. Ms. Abigail Rosales Medina asked if we had people who were working with our homeless youth to ensure that they're set up to learn, and do we survey them about their challenges? And Dr. Rodriguez answered that and indicated that we used a case management system to track, support, and deliver the things that they need. Ms. Myra Ceballos then asked what we're doing to help students with special education to increase attendance and achievement. And Dr. Menares pledged to bring that focus in the high school presentation. And then Ms. Applegate noted that that they're graded differently because of their IEPs. And so we said we would consider bringing back a different, more appropriate data set to show the status of the special education students. Ms. Abigail Rosales Medina asked to explain the 4-point grading system, and Ms. Freeman from Serrano did do that for her. She hopes that we will expand that across the district. Dr. Wyatt and Mr. Tillman asked about when we'd be able to begin practicing sports. Ms. Abigail Rosales Medina requested that the district coordinate something for students to attend virtually for mental health purposes. Mr. Danny Tillman requested that we have information about the potential return to school in the future, and Dr. Volkemer offered to bring this back in March. Dr. Flores then asked if we could send a letter from the board to congratulate the Cajon mock trial team. And Dr. Flores asked if we would post the superintendent search schedule online. And those were all the requests that I captured.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, Ms. Ontiveros. You're on it. Shorthand, you could have invented it. Okay, we are now moving.
That was great.
13.1, but before we officially adjourn, some of you may have seen them when we were coming back, but we do want to take a moment of silence for some of our staff. And are they ready to bring that up? I'm seeing Dr. Volkemer say yes. Okay. Thank you so much for that. And our prayers go out to the families, as well as all the families that have been also affected by COVID. We are sorely going to miss our staff members, and we appreciate the services that they provided to the district. So thank you for taking that opportunity to acknowledge them. 13.1, adjournment.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
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 Thank you so much. Well, thank you again for a great board meeting, lots of information. And to our community, thank you for staying with us and just taking it all in as we consider your voice as important as well. And just know we are in this together. So stay safe, continue to wash your hands and distance, and we will see you next time. Good night, board. God bless.
Good night. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Night. Night, everybody.